Welcome to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, the football show on New Year's Day into the second. Rangers Celtic doesn't get any better. Watch along. Happy New Year. Tam McManus, Alan Ruff, Blair Malloy. We're all ready for this game at Ibrox. It's a watch along. Hopefully you'll stick with us, you'll offer your opinion, and all the way through this game we will be talking and giving you our thoughts on the match as it unfolds. So we're delighted to have you with us. I'm Peter Martin. If you want to, you can in the comment section below give us your thoughts on the game as it unfolds. Tam will be watching it, Ruffy as well. I'll do the odd bit of kind of a delayed commentary. It's like rolling back the years on radio, isn't it, Ruffy?
It's fantastic, you know, and what a game to do it with. There's a lot of things. Obviously, in the end of this game, we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
waiting to start it.
Yeah. You're suggesting that, yeah. Well, listen. Before we get to the meat and bones of the teams, first of all, I've got to say congratulations to Donna Grieve. You might not know who Donna is, but she's our £1,000 cash giveaway winner. And I think if we can arrange it, we're going to go up there, chap her door, and give her the £1,000, and that'll be absolutely fantastic. What a great late Christmas present for her, Tam.
Because it's Donna Grieve now, Ruffy's coming. If it was David Grieve, he was just going to have done it. So he's going to come and give it to Donna personally.
Yeah, absolutely. As well as Rangers versus Celtic. We'll keep you up to date with Aberdeen, Ross County, Hearts, Motherwell, Killie, St Mirren and St Johnstone against Hibs. And I can tell you, there's a small matter of a Dundee derby as well. Dundee against Dundee United is a 5:30 kick-off. Well, of course, this is a fixture down through the years that people eagerly anticipate. But the one thing that you don't anticipate is saying farewell to your family or heading out to this special game and never seeing them again. That was the case in 1971, the Ibrox disaster. And as ever, on January 2nd, it is commemorated by ended 1-1, and as the Rangers fans were heading down stairway 13, Colin Steen managed to get a late equaliser, and sadly quite a number of people ended up just collapsing on the stairway, and the tragedy unfolded. And every year since then, at the John Gregg statue, rather fittingly, we have the Rangers chairman Fraser Thornton and Philippe Clement laying a wreath there today, as well as Peter Lawwell and Michael Nicholson representing Celtic Football Club. It is a day of lots of families looking back on that tragic day and remembering loved ones that they lost. No one should ever go to a football match and not come home. It is only a game, and today is no exception. But it was fitting that both camps should remember the 66 who lost their lives, and of course over 200 people who were sadly injured on that day. So, to 2025, hard to believe it, we're into a new year, and it's a totally different situation that we find ourselves in for an Old Firm game. Usually you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself it's going to be mightily close as far as the race for the title, especially since it's only the start of January, but it's also different this time. It's a 14-point advantage for Celtic going into this game. They are well and truly in the box seat to get the title in the bag, and I think it's generally the feeling at the moment is that Rangers are just trying to hold on to second place and hope that nobody else can chase them down for second place in the SPFL Premiership. What about the teams? Let's go to Ibrox. Alison McConnell has the details.
Good afternoon and welcome to Ibrox, where Celtic are first footers for Philippe Clement's side. The Belgian has yet to get a win over Celtic in this fixture, despite 6 times of asking. It's 7 games without a win for Rangers over Celtic, so lots of questions over whether or not they can go and achieve that today. The likelihood is that it doesn't make a dent on the title race. This is a Rangers team who are already 14 points off the pace of Celtic. There is no real pressure on Brendan Rodgers' side ahead of this one. Rodgers, of course, has played this fixture 20 times across both spells in charge of Celtic and lost it just once. So the focus very much on a Rangers side to go into this one today seriously depleted in terms of the injury issues that they've had to deal with. There's no James Tavernier, no Liam Balogun, no Jack Butland. Liam Kelly comes in to make his debut in this fixture this afternoon. It looks as though it will be Ridvan Yilmaz who's charged with keeping an eye on Daisen Maeda. He's caused all sorts of problems for Rangers down that side of the pitch in previous meetings. Well, Kyogo too starts for Celtic, who has a fair bit of history in this game as well. Other than that, it's Liam Scales who's been chosen to partner Cameron Carter-Vickers. So an intriguing afternoon ahead of us here at Ibrox.
Yeah, thanks to Alison and the mention of the teams. Give us your immediate reaction, Tam, to that Rangers side that we can see, because quite simply there are a number of players that are unable to make it, most notably the goalkeeper. We hope that Jack Butland has a speedy recovery from a bleed in his leg. Also, James Tavernier, the captain's not been able to make it. Balogun couldn't make it either. It's a much changed Rangers side.
Yeah, I think the back four and the goalkeeper will be a cause of concern, I think, for a lot of Rangers supporters going to the game today or watching it on the TV. You know, Ridvan comes in at right back. You know, he's obviously left-sided. He's going to be up against probably Maeda. That's going to be a key battle. But I think that you look at the Rangers team, I think middle to front, they look pretty strong. You know, I think the front across the middle of the park and up front, Igimani obviously scored 2 great goals against Motherwell. Comes in full of confidence. You know, scored at Ibrox against Tottenham, so you know he can do it in a big game. But I just think that back four and goalkeeper never played together. I think that would be somewhere that Celtic would be targeting.
As far as the Celtic side is concerned, just in case you missed it there, Kelly in goal for Rangers, Ridvan, Proper, Sterling and Jefte, Raskin, Diamande, Barami, Hagi, Cherny and Egaman. And it's Mason Munn, the substitute goalkeeper, Cortez, Barron, Dessers, Matondo, Dowell, King, Fraser and Danilo. As far as Celtic are concerned, Ruffy, Schmeichel, Johnson, Carter, Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Bernardo, McGregor, Hattati, Kuhn, Kyogo and Maeda.
Yeah, it just shows you the difference in the two teams. You know, Celtic at full strength, it would have been his 11. You know, as Tam's saying there, Rangers aren't. You know, they're all over the place, particularly defensively. They've been all over the place for the last 2 or 3 games. So it's going to be a big test for them back there. Test for the goalkeeper. We've had a few goalkeepers who have been thrown into an Old Firm game in the last couple of years. So he's a good goalkeeper, but it'll be a different stage for him today.
Yeah, substitutes for Celtic: Sinisalo, Trusty, Palma, Ida, Via, Yang, McCowan, Engels and Ralston. So the analysis there is almost certainly on the strength of the benches as well. Lots of people will have their opinion on it, Blair, Rangers and Celtic fans.
Yep, you can get involved today, this afternoon. We are live across Facebook, YouTube and on X. You can leave your comments under any of the platforms and we will read them out here. As Peter always says, try your best to keep them clean, even on Old Firm Derby Day. An early prediction in here on the YouTube saying Celtic 3, Rangers 1, lots of yellows, lots of disallowed goals and at least 1 penalty.
Oh, well, there you are, Tam. That'll be good for us. I mean, honestly, the funny thing about it is Ruffy will be well aware of this. Ruffy will be well aware of this, is, you know, when you are able to, especially in my radio days, commentate on the games, that's all well and good. If you lose your rights for the commentary, then you have to be unbelievably clever and watch about 15 different tellies to keep everybody up to date. It's a novelty for us. We're going to be watching the game and commenting, not quite on the same level as the Manchester United boy who's effing and being his way through the whole game.
No, not looking forward to it. First time obviously we've done this, watching the game and interacting with the supporters. So as I said, I hope we're not talking about the referee after the game. The referee's under enormous pressures, as we know in the last couple of weeks. You know, there's not been a lot of great decisions throughout the league for different clubs. So I just hope that today, after the game, we're talking about a great game of football, great goals, great play, and we're not talking about a refereeing decision or a red card or a penalty. So let's hope that the referee gets through it and he's quiet and we're not talking about him.
Yeah, it's always good to get recognition, Ruffy, especially people you hope you make an impression on. So from Dublin he says, Happy New Year, Martin, Tam and Ruffy. So that's great. So thanks for that. Also to Polly, who says, Happy New Year and rest in peace, the 66 who lost their lives. God bless them. And I think that's a nice sentiment, Polly, because quite simply, everybody will realise it's only a game of football and life is far more important than any game And I think also you have to look only in the last 24 hours, and our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone with regards to the tragedy in New Orleans as well. So today we're going to be here. We're going to be giving you our comment. We'll watch along with you. We'll give you our thoughts on the game as it unfolds, and hopefully we'll get an entertaining game. The only thing that I would say, Ruffy, is the stats are so much stacked against Rangers. I've got to ask you the question. If he goes 17 points behind, does the Rangers manager get sacked?
Yeah, I think it'll be the reaction of the supporters, firstly, at the end of the game. You know, they've already vented their feelings about everything that's happened this year. This could be, the turning point. You know, I think it depends. If they do lose the game, the manner in which they lose it, obviously the score I'm talking about, but I would think so. I would think that there'll be an outcry from the supporters for a change.
Yeah, the only saving grace here, if there is such a thing as a saving grace on this, Tam, is quite simply, I know it's hard to say, does the Rangers manager get sacked if they go 17 points behind Celtic? Under normal circumstances, it's a no-brainer. He'll automatically, be told probably as he walks up the tunnel. But these are different times, and financially, you're wondering whether Rangers can afford to sack their manager.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think obviously there's a new CEO and chairman, and there's a new board coming in, and they maybe want to make a statement to the supporters. And I've absolutely no doubt about it. If Rangers lose today, the supporters will be screaming for his head. No doubt about it. Not only in the game, on all the social media platforms, they'll be wanting a change in the managerial department. But if Rangers go and sack him, they've got to pay him up, got to pay his staff up. They've got to get somebody else. Who do they bring in? I know there's been a lot of talk about Kevin Muscat, who was obviously in the running for it first time about before Philip Clement. I think he would be a popular choice for a lot of Rangers supporters. But you're right. Do you stick with the manager? Is it a patience? Is it a longer term plan, or do you think it's totally unacceptable for Rangers to be 17 points behind Celtic in January?
That's what the supporters and the board have to believe, that everything he's saying. He said a lot of things like I've got a lot of players that are injured, just hang on in there. And that worked for a wee while, because they did turn the corner. They started winning games that they weren't winning. But that last couple of games, it sort of fell flat. I think it's the same pressure has now been put on him, so it depends whether you buy into, look, this is just forget right off this year, give me a chance, let the players settle in, let me try and bring in 2 or 3 other players, and we will be better, because the thing that always comes out after these Celtic Rangers game is there's not a lot between the two sides, on a one-off game, and everybody's been sort of hanging on to that, but obviously depending on how it goes today, people might not just believe it anymore.
Yeah, we are seeing pictures of the Celtic players warming up. I'm quite surprised actually to see Dyson Maeda warming up there. Tam, I thought he'd have been sitting next to James Tavernier in the stand, just making sure that he doesn't make any moves, because that's been the unfolding story in every one of the games that we've been looking at. I mentioned the stats on this whole situation because Clement hasn't managed to defeat Celtic in 6 attempts, which is not great. Conceded, 14 goals, scored 8. This season alone, he's failed to win 13 of his 30 matches in charge for Rangers.
Yes, it doesn't make pretty reading for a Rangers supporter, Peter. And the biggest disappointment, I think, for the Rangers supporters will be the away form. I think if you're going into this game and you're beating everybody else, it just becomes kind of a head-to-head. I think that the fact that Rangers have, dropped 4 points in the last 2 away games, it just from Celtic drawing against Dundee United, Rangers supporters thinking, by the way, we won the next 2 away games, beat Celtic 6 points. All of a sudden, 2 games later, it could be 17 points. So it's been a massive shift in the last couple of games from between Celtic and Rangers. From a moment of hope where you think you could get closer to 17 points is totally embarrassing. So, yeah, it doesn't make pretty reading. He's got to try. He's got to beat Celtic at some point, Peter. And I think this might be his last chance today.
Yeah, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think so. I think we always look at it. I think the fans have got a big say now in what happens at football clubs. I think that obviously it's at home, which isn't a good sign for them as well. There's going to be 52,000 people venting their anger at the end, and sometimes that's when boards twitch and then just sack the manager. So I think he'd be looking for a performance and looking for something out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We usually have a competition to see if you can spot Blair moving off the chair at some point, and there it is. So It's all right, player, come in. You don't need to worry about it, you can come in. Just hit the button and we're off and running. Well done, Blair. Put your mic back on without making too much noise. Somebody, Bernard, says, why is your man on his phone all the time? Well, basically, Bernard, Blair is our reporter. He's given the task, Tam, of reading out as many of the comments as is humanly possible.
Well, read all the ones that slaughter Ruffy.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yes, fine,
if you can.
And this new seat now, I can see you.
Exactly. The other aspect of this, I've got to be honest with you, Ruffy, is you're not exactly 100%. I mean, there was a real feeling as if you were going to call off today because you've got an injury.
Yeah, just a small injury, a small tumble when I took my grandchild to see Santa.
Yeah.
And Bowness train. A small trip on the train, and I've just damaged a couple of ligaments in my leg, but you know I wouldn't let you down.
Yep, absolutely. It's only a matter of time now,
Just a
Tam.
slow decline, Peter. I've been calling it for years. Honestly, it's going to be the Tam and Peter show shortly.
Absolutely.
That's the spirit of the new year. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely, which is why Tam has brought some hankies so we can dab the side of Ruffy's face. Anyway, listen, it is an entertainment, and that's the thing we've got to remember here about this game. It's one of the most eagerly anticipated games in the calendar as far as Scottish football is concerned. It may not be the greatest derby in the world technically, Tam, let's be honest about it. I mean, at times you can get this dire game between Glasgow's big two, but what you do get is a spectacle. Today I really wanted to see, some fans in there, but it's all Rangers fans.
Yeah, hopefully that's round the corner, Peter. I know they're talking, and I think maybe the next one or the one after that there'll be some away supporter. Listen, it's just not the same fixture. Of that explosion of colour, both green and white or blue and white, whatever it is, in at Parkhead and Ibrox, it makes the fixture. So I think Rangers have definitely got the advantage. I think having a full stadium full of your own supporters, but it's only that case if you start well and get the first goal. I think if it goes the other way, it can be purgatory for the Rangers players, because I think the Rangers fans will get on their back right away if Celtic scored first. I think Celtic have scored first in about the 8 in the last 9 derbies, so Rangers have got to change that narrative. They've got to go out and get the first goal and start on the front foot and get those 49,000 behind them. Yeah,
Blair, only 3 weeks ago, the two of them locked horns in the Premier Sports League Cup final at Hampden Park. 50-50 split, fantastic atmosphere. In the end, Celtic edged it on penalties. What's the general feeling from the fans going into this one that are messaging us at the moment?
Well, we were there that day, obviously, Peter. It was an incredible atmosphere. Interesting this week, Philippe Clement saying that they were the better team that day and they probably should have won. That's maybe the message he's trying to get across to his team. Obviously, Rangers have had a few injuries coming into this one. Graham Caldwell here on the YouTube feed, he says, Robin Proper is so far out of his depth, I can see Celtic trying to exploit him in behind and they could get a fair bit of joy. So maybe that, as you were talking about earlier, that change back four is something Celtic could be looking at going, we can get a bit of joy out of this.
Ruffy, I've got to mention the manager of Celtic, because quite simply, if we're talking about all the negative implications of what Rangers are facing, it's nothing but positivity around Celtic, because Brendan Rodgers, his record in Old Firm derbies in 2 stints as Celtic manager, 1 defeat in 20, 16 wins, they're 14 points clear. Everything seems to be rosy in the garden.
Yeah, and he certainly came out on record and saying that this year has been one of his best. I don't think you could argue with that, but as long as he keeps winning the big games against Rangers, they'll be well up there with the supporters. And it's amazing, how you can change things in football, because we all know when we come back there was a sort of a split in the Celtic supporters, but it didn't take them long to win them over, and certainly the way they're going now, they're all right behind them.
Yeah, and since that 7-1 mauling at the hands of Borussia Dortmund, Tam, Brendan Rodgers' side have just responded big time, unbeaten in 18 games.
Yeah, I think they've had an incredible 2024. I think they've only lost one game domestically, Hearts away. I think they got a man sent off early, Yang. So it just shows you how consistent Celtic are, and that's the problem. That's the issue Rangers have got. They've not got that same consistency. They don't churn out wins week after week like Celtic do. Even Celtic are not at their best. They win games, and Rangers have been unable to do that. So that's something that's got to change. Rangers have got to try and take it into the Old Firm games and be neck and neck and kind of make it a 3 or 4 game season, but they've been unable to do that over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, don't forget, it's our watch along. It's the start of 2025 season. Thank you for your support throughout 2024. It's been absolutely magnificent, Ruffy. We have doubled our figures for our content right across all our social media and our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I think we're more aware because we're out there and we're meeting the guys who are watching the show and listening to the show, you know, and it's amazing. Doesn't matter where you are, Aberdeen or abroad, you know, the guys that have been in contact with the show.
And Ruffy means guys collectively, as girls and guys as well, just in case people don't pick up on that.
Cancel. I know exactly what you meant. Cancel.
Yeah, absolutely. There is that culture. I mean, don't worry about it, son. I'm sticking with you. I don't want to touch your shoulder in case it collapses.
Weekend at Bernie's next year. Blair behind there and they'll just be working the Ruffy. There'll be flies not in his heat and everything.
Yeah, just spatula, just getting the flies off your face, Ruffy. To be perfectly honest with you, as you can imagine, there's absolutely no sympathy for anybody who picks up an illness during the season here. It means that you're weak. It's as simple as that. It's a watch along on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, Facebook and Twitter. Blair, our reporter, who's been out at grounds throughout the whole season. Did you enjoy 2024, Blair, getting out there and seeing the standard of Scottish football?
Excellent, getting all over the country, getting up and down all over the place, getting to, as you say, it's always important to get out to grounds, take in the way the styles the team plays. Scottish football never fails to amaze me at times.
And I'll tell you even better than that, because of my old pal Derek Johnston, when we were at Radio Clyde, had mentioned to me, Ruffy, that Derek had never been to see an Edinburgh derby. And Blair, you got the chance to see Hearts against Hibs.
Yes, went to my first one on Boxing Day. It was tense, I think the atmosphere would best described it. 12:30 on Boxing Day, obviously a brilliant result for Hibs that day. The celebrations at the end were quite incredible, and that massive Hibs travelling away support, they absolutely loved it. They were loving it, Peter. It was a wonderful occasion to be part of.
Yeah, Tam, just before we get ever closer to kick-off here, the one thing I would say is, for Rangers and Celtic fans, at the start of the new year, as well as eagerly anticipating the game, it can make or break your whole week. When you look at your team, you're wanting a performance, you're wanting the desire, you want the win.
Yeah, you do, and I think the Celtic supporters are coming into this pretty comfortable. I think they know that the league's done anyway. Obviously, don't want to lose the game, but if they go and win it at 17 points, Rangers, there's a lot of apathy amongst the Rangers supporters at the minute. Even a win, does that even make any sort of difference? Maybe that will just delay the inevitable for Philip Clement. I think a lot of Rangers supporters have gave up on him. They don't see him as a man going forward. I think that just probably keeps him in a job for the next month or two. And so I think that all the pressure is really on Rangers. I think that Celtic can afford to lose the game and still win the league. Obviously they'll be looking at an unbeaten season, but it's up to Rangers today to go and win the game and prove to their supporters that they are starting to close the gap, even though it's not in points. If they go and beat Celtic, then it might give them some sort of kick of injection of confidence for the rest of the season.
I know you like a wee flutter. Celtic 11-10, Rangers 11-5, the draw 13-5.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're any supporter bar Rangers, you're looking at that Celtic at 11-10 and thinking, the record that they've got against Rangers, that's a good price. Rangers obviously got home advantage, which is key as well. But I think you'd have to fancy Celtic on all known form. Points difference, recent form, everything. You've got to fancy Celtic 11-10.
Ida 11-2, Kyogo 11-2, and then Danilo and Cyril Dessers on 7-1 to get the first goal. Ruffy, where would your money be?
I got Manny 15-2. That's a good one for Rangers fans, I think, Peter.
Yeah, I think Kyogo has got a good track record here. He is. I always think he's half a yard sharper than most of the Rangers defenders. I think 2 or 3 of them won't have noticed the pace that Celtic play at, particularly Maeda. So that's something that has been new to them.
Yeah, Paulie's just said, I might as well, because I know you won't read it out, Blair. Paulie said Big Ruffy is a top man and a love heart there. So
yes, we'll let him know.
That's
a top man.
Nice, well done.
Thank you.
Get well soon, Paulie. Let's crack on. We're getting ever closer to the kick-off. So let's go back over those teams for you, because it's a watch-along. We all call it as we see it. We'll obviously look at the game as it unfolds, the performances. You can give us your view on it on our YouTube feed and across Twitter and Facebook as well. And Blair is the reason why he's on his phone. He's got every bit of social media to cover your opinion on it, and he'll read out as many of the sensible ones as we possibly can on this one. But as far as the teams are concerned, once more, Liam Kelly in goal. Ridvan Yilmaz is playing right back for Rangers. Proper Sterling and Jeffrey, Raskin and Diamandi in that holding role. Barami, Hagi and Cherny. Egaman is up front for Rangers. Schmeichel in goal for Celtic. Johnson, Cameron, Carter, Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Bernardo, McGregor and Hatate, that three in the middle that Rangers have found so difficult to try and break down. And then Kun, Kyogo and Maeda. That is indeed the front three that could cause all sorts of problems. And the Rangers fans, as ever, I'm looking at Blair, is that a huge banner with Graham Roberts?
Yeah, I believe it might be, Peter. Yeah. And you'll know us by our noise along the bottom, certainly trying to create the colour and the end of the stadium there to bring the atmosphere, which Rangers are definitely going to be relying on this afternoon. I think Rangers have not had it all their own way when it's been all their own fans. I think it wouldn't be unfair to say that Celtic have dealt with that switch in fans a little bit better. An interesting comment here just before kick-off from Jan Parker Douglas, who all the chat before this is what this result could mean for Philippe Clement. They say, I hope Clement stays. Sacking managers every year isn't going to build a team that can challenge. An interesting point to consider before we see anything that happens today. Is he there for the long haul? Is it worth sacking him no matter what happens today?
It's a cold day in Govan. Crisp is the only way to describe that air coming in across Ibrox Park. Rangers against Celtic, and just 3 weeks after that Premier Sports Cup final, which Celtic in the end won on penalties. The one thing I can say without fear of contradiction is it's not going to be 0-0.
No, I don't think so, Peter. I think there'll be goals in the game. I think Rangers will be relying on Celtic having an off day. I think if Celtic turn up and play at their best, I think they're a better side and they'll go and win the game. If they have an off day and Rangers play well, then they can go and get the victory. But just looking at the benches as well, I think you're looking at the strength and depth that Celtic have got in the bench. You know, you've got a £9 million striker there and an £11 million midfield player. You know, you've got a guy on loan for Barcelona. So I just think the benches could prove pivotal as well later in the game when teams are tired, players are tired, and 60, 70 minutes you're bringing quality on. So that could tell, maybe later in the game.
I'll tell you one thing that's changed dramatically, Ruffy, down through the years, and you'll remember it from walking out in many a tunnel. Spent a fair bit of money on the tunnels these days for them, with all the just little touches of history, lighting, and Rangers obviously commemorating their European Cup Winners' Cup win in 1972. Callum McGregor, as ever, wearing the captain's armband, and again, a great touch from both camps with the black armbands in commemoration of the 66 people who lost their lives in 1971 at the Ibrox disaster. This is a game of football, Ruffy. We're here to enjoy it. I'm looking at Nico Raskin, and if you'd have said to that boy a year ago, by the way, you'll be leading out Rangers as captain, he'd never have believed you. No,
it's quite ironic, that him and Hagi, the manager was on, record to say that they'd no future at the club, when they were out of things. But it's amazing how football can change. Sometimes you're out of it. Now, captain of Rangers, it's absolutely, the boy will be hoping he has a good game. A lot of pressure on him. It's always a pressure when you're a captain of Rangers or Celtic. So they'll be hoping for a big game for him. Teams are walking out. Don Robertson is the referee. Is he a man with a calm head for you, Tam?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's experienced, Peter. It's obviously going to be a real test for him. We all know the pressure that the officials have been put under over the last couple of weeks, and he'll, as I said earlier in the show, he'll just be looking to get out of this game. Nobody talking about him, quietly go about his business. Hopefully doesn't show a yellow card early in the game, because I think that'll probably lead to maybe a red. Keep your cards in the pocket, let the game flow, and hopefully we're talking about the football at the end of the game. But I think that Rangers will take confidence from the way they played in the cup final, and I think that Bajrami done a bit of a number defensively on Callum McGregor. I thought he dropped into him and kind of nullified Callum McGregor, which stopped Celtic's flow. So it'll just be interesting to see if they go with the same tactics and just sit him on top of Callum McGregor.
Before we get to the predictions on this, last word from some of the fans.
I think generally it's coming across that Celtic are hot favourites today, even though going into Rangers' backyard. An interesting shout that Liam Kelly might be the hero today, obviously boyhood Rangers fan, his first game in an Old Firm derby. Can he step up to fill the gloves of Jack Butland? It's obviously going to be a massive afternoon for him against that much fancied Celtic attack.
Okay, give us your prediction, Ruffy.
I think it's. I think I'm looking at the final, the 3 each game. I do believe in certain games there isn't much between the two teams, but that Rangers defence is nowhere near where it was that day, so I'm going to go Celtic to win 2-1.
Okay, Tam.
3-1 Celtic for me.
Okay, I'm not going to ask Blair because he's our reporter reporting on it, and I want him to have a career over the next 20 years without getting absolutely battered.
8-2 Rangers, he told me earlier.
I tell you, Tam, Graham Caldwell on the feed here agrees with you. He thinks it'll be 3-1 Celtic as well.
Okay, thank you very much to each and every one of you. It is Rangers against Celtic. Thoroughly looking forward to it. I personally think it might be a draw. I think it's a really nice touch that both camps at this moment are taking their place in the centre circle. Don Robertson will blow his whistle. There will be a minute's silence inside the stadium, and I think a number of Rangers fans will look back on that day with great sadness when 66 people lost their lives in the Ibrox disaster and over 200 people were injured on that day. Stairway 13, when a number of people just basically died of asphyxiation, and a number of tragic circumstances for many families to deal with. Their kids, a lot of kids and younger people at that game, Ruffy. You would have been playing professional football at that time.
Yeah, I remember back then. I'm sure some of the older members of the show will remember that stairway. I mean, health and safety was out the window. You know, it was an absolutely tragedy waiting to happen. Unfortunately, the game's moved on now. You know, the stadiums are pristine. But for that day, you know, it was horrible for everybody associated with football.
Yeah, 2nd of January 1971, always remembered, is on the screen at Ibrox. Silence across the stadium, and so many people looking back on that day, and again remembering the 66 who lost their lives. And as we, as broadcasters, get ready for this game, it is only a game between Glasgow's big two. One team at this moment breaking away to the left-hand side. They'll shoot into the Copeland Road end, and that is Celtic, who go into the huddle. Rangers are ready. Can they, for Philippe Clement, get the result that they crave? You can give us your thoughts going throughout the game. It's a watch-along. We'll be here until 5:30. We'll give you our post-match reaction as well. And right across our social media, we'll get the reaction from the managers and the players involved in Rangers against Celtic, Ibrox Park. It's going to be an absolute cracker. There's bound to be goals. I can remember one Sky Sports reporter saying there's bound to be goals, and then 90 minutes later, 0-0, not a lot happened. But I have a feeling... No. no, but I have a feeling. I think I was reporting for Sky at one point, and I said, I think it'll be tight tonight. Motherwell 6, Hibs 6. If we get 12 goals in this game, I think we might need to, at that point, look towards so many of the people in the watch along and reading out their comments. Thank you very much for your predictions on this one. If anything, Ruffy, they always say that first 20 minutes is the most important.
Yeah, I think it's good right for the start. You put pressure on the two fullbacks. You know, Celtic have obviously done their homework in that respect, and it's good to have possession of the game so early on, you know, so, and that's what Celtic are trying to do.
I'll tell you one thing, Czerny is playing from the start, which I think is a good thing for Rangers fans, quite simply, Tam, because he didn't start against Motherwell. A lot of people are not happy. They think the sports science took a fair bit of involvement in it. But if you're a Rangers manager looking to try and maximise the points and stay in the hunt, why do you not just start Czerny and say, right, okay, give us an hour, do your best, rather than have to bring him on for a salvage job?
Yeah, I think that was a massive error of judgment from the Rangers manager, and they paid the price, you know, and he brought them.
Yeah, don't stop while you're talking. No, that's,
a little chance here for Celtic.
I'll keep you right in the watch along, by the way.
No, I think you should. I think you always play your strongest team if you're a manager, particularly Celtic Rangers. The pressure's on to win every game. So, yeah, I thought that he made a massive error, and
Ruffy, that reminded me of so many. That reminded me of so many people I've seen down through the years who not only work for PLZ Soccer, but have worked for some of the companies I work for. And if you speak in their ear or something happens and they just stop and they start looking, and you're waiting on Dougie Donnelly going, "Can we go to the Coatbridge Bulls?" No, we can't. Anyway, Celtic with that corner and an early chance to try and threaten the Rangers goal, and once again Callum McGregor is a master of putting that ball in there, and it's cleared out of the 6-yard area, and all sorts of mayhem inside that box for the Rangers defence, Ruffy.
Yes, certainly was. I thought he was just going to put his foot through that, but fortunately for Rangers, there was a defender on the line just in front of the goalkeeper to clear it.
It's a watch along. If you want to comment, you can. Blair is here to read out some of your comments on Facebook, on Twitter, and indeed on our YouTube channel right across the UK and, of course, further afield. We've got so many people, expats, watching the game, looking on. It's Ibrox with 100% Rangers fans there. Celtic again from Bernardo on the far side. Likes to whip it in, Tam, with his right boot.
Yeah, good ball in. Rangers survived that, but really strong start from Celtic. 2 corners in the first couple of minutes. We said at the start, the first 5-10 minutes would be important, particularly for Rangers, to get that big crowd behind them. But you can see it just coming in here, and it just doesn't break to Kyogo there. I think it does enough. Ridvan at the back post, but certainly a wee half chance early on for Celtic.
Yeah, and the other aspect of this that I've got to highlight, Ruffy, is Liam Kelly's a good goalkeeper. He's just not going to get his chance when Jack Butland is fit.
No, I mean, he was in the Scotland squad there for a wee while, and everybody was saying he should have got a chance in some of the friendly games, but he certainly with Motherwell, he's proved his salt, so I think today he will be called on to make a few saves.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers in the pre-match press conference obviously keen to highlight that Celtic just keep on winning despite suggestions that they've maybe gone off the boil. If you're off the boil and you keep winning, Tam, the manager doesn't care.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about with Celtic Rangers. You just got to win games. If you can do it with style, great, but you've just got to win games of football. Celtic have shown that consistently over the last few seasons. That's why they're, the champions. That's why they're going to be champions again this season. Rangers are unable to do that. Obviously, they can match Celtic in a one-off game, but they've not got that same level of consistency over 37, 38 games that Celtic have got.
Maeda always breaking down that left-hand side, trying to get in behind. It's not James Tavernier he's up against, it's Ridvan Yilmaz who's in that rather unusual situation of being in the right back position. Interestingly enough, just looking there at Liam Scales, Ruffy, getting the choice as the man to start for Celtic. And the reason for that over the last few weeks is quite simply, I think Brendan Rodgers likes the situation where Liam Scales actually moves that ball forward quicker, which Trusty hasn't been doing of late. Here's a real chance for Rangers, and again the shot was blocked, another chance for them, but Celtic are able just to get bodies in front of it, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean, that a couple of good chances there. Obviously, I think they were trying to maybe a handball there, but I think Celtic defended it particularly well, but I'm sure that'll be encouraging for the Rangers forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. We're keeping you right up to date with what's happening at the Rangers versus Celtic game. The watch along on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, on Facebook, on Twitter, or X as it is now known. Tam McManus and Alan Ruff are with me. Peter Martin. Blair Malloy is our reporter, keeping us right up to date with what's happening. If you want to post a message to us, tell us where you are. If you are quite a distance away from us, we'd love to know exactly where you're watching the game. If you are further afield, as Ruffy and I have mentioned on more than a few occasions on our YouTube channel, so many people tune in from the United States, Canada, New Zealand and Australia, Ruffy.
Yes, and I'm sure they'll find a pub that they can watch the game no matter what country they're in. There's always one, available, but sometimes you have to hunt for them. But I'm sure a lot of expats will be watching this game. Yeah,
not too sure there's any real pub showing the game in Afghanistan, but certainly in other areas, Tam, they might be showing this. I just don't get the feeling that they're all sitting there thinking, I wonder who's going to win this.
No, I think it's difficult unless it's a Celtic supporters club or a Rangers supporters club.
In Afghanistan?
No, we're talking about different places. America. I remember scouring somewhere to watch one of the Old Firm games when I was in Colorado, and there was nowhere. But
did you play in America?
I did.
Didn't know that. Yeah, Rangers now with a real opportunity, and there is the goal, and it's a cracker. Hagi scoring left foot, 7 minutes gone, and that was an absolute belter. It's what you call a daisy cutter. He goes over to Philippe Clement, and then he salutes the Rangers crowd. Clement wants the rest of the team just to concentrate, but he caught that sweetly with his left boot. And for all the pre-match on this one, Liam Scales just looking on, a forlorn figure, as Hagi just stepped up there. Ianis Hagi The main man for Rangers gives them the lead in the Old Firm match, January 2nd at Ibrox, and the pass out from Scales. Eventually, it was Hagi just driving away there, and when he just looked at a little touch, and then first time Hagi with the left boot past Schmeichel in the goal, and that was really Scales trying to play that out from the back into the midfield area, where basically he get caught out, and I think that left foot there caught Schmeichel out, Ruffy.
It certainly did. He hit it quite early, but it was a bad pass across the midfield there, and the Rangers were onto it really, really quickly. And it's been one of his failings this year, you know, that. But one of the reasons he's playing in there is because he's good at passing the ball out for the back. But terrible mistake, and Rangers have capitalised on it.
Yeah, what did you make of that, Tam? Because the layoff from Raskin was first class.
Yeah, it was great. It was good pressure from Rangers. I think they obviously Celtic started quicker, but I think in the last couple of minutes, Rangers definitely came into the game, putting crosses in the box. Poor pass from Scales, but wonderful finish from Hagi, left foot right in the corner, no chance for Schmeichel. And as I said, that's the last thing that Celtic would have wanted, you know, that full support behind Rangers. But Rangers got off to a dream start, and they'll get those supporters right behind them.
Yeah, Cherny trying to build on that. That has lifted the crowd. If you want to give us your thoughts on it, Blair, undoubtedly so many fans, Rangers fans, will have been heartened by that goal.
Yep, it's described here as a helter-skelter start in the opening exchanges here at Ibrox. Perhaps a little bit of vindication there for Philippe Clement. Nicholas Raskin doing his best to win that ball. And then another man he's brought back into the team, Ianis Hagi, with the finish that we're just seeing here again from just outside the area into the bottom corner there. Sitting a long way to go though. We've got a poll running on the YouTube feed here. Still 88% of fans expect Celtic to win this one. So even though Rangers have that early lead, it's still early days in this game.
Darren just points out commentators curse, Peter, because I did mention the fact that quite simply Scales is the man to bring that ball out. I didn't necessarily say he passes it out well, Ruffy, but he brought it out and Rangers took full advantage because he plays the ball into the middle of the park.
I know, we've seen it so often. You know that you know, some players are comfortable making that pass, but if you don't get it right, you know, and the midfield, Rangers midfield were sharp enough to read it, and I thought Schmeichel could have been done a wee bit quicker than that. You know, it was quite. It wasn't like.
I think it went through. Vickers' legs.
It wasn't like a thunderbolt with a shot. It seemed to take forever, you know, to get into that corner. So maybe he just hit it quick and he just didn't anticipate it.
Yeah, Hearts scored. Moussa Dreme has scored for Hearts. They're leading Motherwell by 1-0, and Kilmarnock are leading St Mirren. Bruce Anderson's scoring again. Bruce Anderson's played well for Kilmarnock. It's been a good signing.
Yep, that's obviously a big game for both clubs, pushing for the top six this season. And yeah, he has. He scored a few goals this season. He's a good young player now, and you know, Kilmarnock of home form are starting to pick up. Obviously, disappointing result at Easter Road last week, but that could be a big 3 points from at home.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who's giving us their comments, watching along here. Brendan Rodgers looking slightly anxious after conceding that goal. 7 minutes. Ianis Hagi with the left foot. And I did spot, I think, in the crowd there, Ruffy, Georgie Hagi, who is Ianis' dad. He was a star wearing the number 10 for Romania. And I reckon Georgie, in the standard of Scottish football at times, could easily still play now.
Yeah, fantastic player. He used to light up the World Cup games, and tremendous ability. One of these midfielders is just a joy to watch.
I think it's been a good start by Rangers, Tom.
It has. As I said, the first couple of minutes, Celtic started a wee bit quicker, but no, Rangers definitely the last 7-8 minutes have been on the front foot, getting after Celtic, putting them under pressure, not giving them time in the ball in the middle of the park. Callum McGregor's few misplaced passes already, you know. So again, I think they've targeted Callum McGregor in terms of making Celtic tick. We've seen it in the past with maybe Scott Arfield with Scott Brown, just sitting somebody on top of him there and nullifying him. And it's Diamande, it's Raskin, you know, they've got good energy in the middle of the park, Rangers, and they've certainly started it quicker.
Yeah, what do you make of Tam and his performance so far, Ruffy? Because you and I are well used to watch-alongs, but every now and then there's just a little pause as he gets used to this new format.
Yeah, well, he's watching the screen, he's watching the computer, he's watching everything that's going on. He can't do everything.
Absolutely, he's still trying to read some of my facts. Anyway, Celtic are going to try and get back into this match. They're a goal behind to Rangers. Rangers scoring after 7 minutes. It was a lovely layoff by Raskin into the path of Hagi. He didn't take a touch, and I think that's what helped him enormously, because not only was it beautiful placement away from Kasper Schmeichel, it was the fact that he did it quickly.
Yeah, I think Ruffy will tell you, and the goalkeeper, if you're not set, it takes you by surprise. And it wasn't a lot of pace on the shot, but it was very accurate. It was right in the corner, and it was through Carter Vickers' legs. Maybe Schmeichel was unsighted, but I think over the course of the first 10-11 minutes, Rangers have certainly been a better side.
Yeah, and at this moment, leading by 1-0, 12 minutes have now elapsed in the Old Firm derby at Ibrox, 2nd of January 2025. And thank you to so many of you for joining us on our watch along on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter as well. And Blair will be reading out some of your halftime thoughts, so get in there with your thoughts, not only on Twitter but on Facebook too, and on our YouTube channel. Rangers again with an opportunity to break, and certainly Czerny is one man. If he gets it on his left foot, there's a real chance, and this time it's the woodwork that saves Celtic. What a chance that was.
A deflection there. That might have been in the top corner. I think it was Cameron Vickers who got his foot out on it, and it looked as if it was going to be a bad start for Liam Scales again. Like an own goal. But no, very, very lucky there.
Yeah, Czerny. Great left foot there, just belting that ball towards the goal, but it came off the back of Liam Scales, and that deflected the ball up onto the bar. It's a corner to Rangers. What a chance it is for Rangers if they could get a second goal in this match. That really would, I think, fill most of their supporters with joy, despite the fact that it's been a really difficult season. They haven't been able to get the results that they were hoping for. And when you look back over the calendar year, you've mentioned 2 games where they had slip-ups. You only have to look back to last year, Tam, when Rangers were in with a real shout of going 2 points clear of Celtic and failed. I think Dundee and Ross County were the particular games.
Yeah, I think away from home it's been a problem. I think at home Rangers have been pretty solid. You've seen that in Europe as well. Ibrox is a bit of a cauldron when things are going well at home, and this is kind of suiting Rangers now. Rangers will kind of sit in playing the counter-attack. They've got plenty of pace in the forward areas. Czerny's obviously a constant threat. And, Celtic definitely need to sharpen up here, because if Rangers get the second goal, it's a long way back.
Yeah, Don Robertson's just quickly getting involved to give a free kick to Celtic, but Rangers throwing that ball in, creating all sorts of havoc for Celtic. Brendan Rodgers, no need for panic at the moment. They're a goal behind, and it was a sweet goal as well after 7 minutes. The left foot shot of Ianis Hagi finding the back of the net for Rangers. They've got that 1-goal advantage. Can they get back in the game? Give us your thoughts on that. We'll read out most of your comments on how you think this game is going after 45 minutes. And then, of course, not only will we get the full-time reaction, but we will hear from Alison McConnell, and undoubtedly right across our social media, the reaction from the managers and the players involved in this key game. Rangers leading by 1-0. Brendan Rodgers looking on, shaking his head a little there. And I think, just looking at what I was mentioning earlier on there, Celtic so often have been playing the ball across the back. And the one thing that just sparked a thought from me there, Ruffy, was the fact that Celtic playing that ball along the back line brought a fair bit of criticism in the Premier Sports Cup final, because they invited Rangers onto them, and yet again Scales trying to get the ball out there, and Rangers have pressed, and suddenly they're able to get back into that final third of Celtic's half.
Well, they've obviously done their homework. There's no doubt about that. Celtic like to pass the ball out for the back, but it's the midfield, Celtic midfield for me. The passing has been absolutely shocking, considering what they're used to, and they're just letting Rangers get possession of the ball, and Rangers are dominating the game.
Yeah, and I think the Rangers fans are absolutely ecstatic with what they're witnessing at the moment, Tam.
Yep, absolutely. Rangers high pressing. Celtic very, very sloppy in possession. Rangers getting a lot of joy just by going and pressing. Just as I say that, Rangers kick the ball out the park. But no, it's been a really, really strong start from Rangers. Celtic, you can see Brendan Rodgers at the side. He won't be happy. Celtic not getting their groove yet, not keeping the ball, very, very sloppy in possession. And the Rangers snapping at their heels, getting the crowd behind them. Got that energy from that early goal as well. So, it's been a really, really positive start for Rangers.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can debate the fact that Rangers are the better side.
You look more up for it at the minute, Peter.
Well, absolutely, that's what I was going to say. But you're well aware, we've watched many a game, Ruffy. You've got to get that first crunching tackle, and you've got to get the fans on your side. It's all Rangers fans. This is a perfect setup for them.
Well, it's changed, because we're always talking about the reaction to Rangers players when they go behind. This is the first time for a while in a big game like this. Some of the Celtic players have went behind and as you say, 50,000 supporters, getting right behind Rangers. So I think Brendan Rodgers will be looking for a reaction from some of these players.
Yeah, Blair, what's the reaction like on our social media as Celtic almost get a chance? A long ball from Scales and Kyogo, as he often does, just peeling off on the shoulder, and he was onside, Tam.
Yeah, it was wonderful movement. Kyogo was great at that, off the ball, just nicks in behind Sterling there. Yeah, I think it's maybe just overhit a tad there, but the two centre halves at Rangers have got to be wary of Kyogo. He comes short and spins in behind. He does it a lot, and Celtic have got the quality in the middle of the park to go and find them. So that was a half chance again for Celtic.
Yeah.
Yep, down on that poll I was mentioning earlier, 88% the last time you came to me. It's now dropped down to 78% of fans thinking that Celtic are going to win this game. So Rangers taking that early lead, building a little bit of confidence among the Rangers support here in the chat. Dublin's Fair City here mentioned that Celtic need to sharpen up in these early stages if they want something out of this game. Gary Connor being very complimentary of Hamza Igman and the physicality he's bringing to this game in the early exchanges. Just can't knock him off the ball. He says, interesting, Ianis Hagi's goal there. I was just looking up. That's his first goal for Rangers since May 2023. Obviously spending that time out on loan, but his first goal back in a Rangers shirt in almost 2 years.
Yeah, and over and above that, I think a lot of Rangers fans really unhappy at his exclusion from the starting 11 for a long, long time.
Yeah, they were. It was obviously a financial decision from the club. I think they obviously had to maybe pay him more money if they get one more appearance. But, they're cutting their nose off to spite their face. He's a quality player, we know that. They've missed him. And I think he gives you a wee bit of quality in the middle of the park. He's got two guys with legs round about him, in Raskin and Diamandi, and he can just sit. And so I think he's a quality player. You can see that he's played in the Euros for Romania. Wonderful goal, wonderful start of the game for him so far.
Yeah, Celtic with an emphatic 4-0 win over St Johnstone while Rangers were slipping up against Motherwell. And now all the talk was about Celtic going 17 points clear with a win at Ibrox. To do that, Ruffy, what do you think they need to do to get back into this game, apart from obviously the most obvious thing, which is score goals?
Well, they need to sharpen their play up a bit. Their passing has been shocking.
I don't think caught in the ball again.
I don't think Rangers have lost possession of the ball any time they've had it. They're keeping a hold of it and bringing the good players into the game, and Celtic just haven't done that at all. I
think Raskin has been a key player over the short period of this game and, of course, in the cup final as well.
Yep, you can see it again. I think he just picks up a wee knock here, but Callum McGregor, he goes and catches him again, catches him on the ball. And, he's a really poor start to the game, the Celtic captain. He looks a yard off it, and Rangers are swarming him as soon as he gets the ball, and they've done that in the final to good. They've got a tune out of that as well. So no, I think that Celtic, particularly in the middle of the park, need to move the ball quicker.
Yeah, Raskin playing well in the middle for Rangers. Ianis Hagi, the hero for Rangers. They're a goal up after 7 minutes. A left foot shot, little layoff from Raskin, and then that low daisy cutter, as they call it, Ruffy. Remember that? Yeah. Right into the bottom corner.
Yeah, for me it seemed to take forever to get in there, but obviously maybe he was unsighted. It was sort of similar to the goal that Celtic scored at Parkhead, where everybody was saying Butland should have moved a wee bit quicker to it. So there's another bad pass from Celtic. They're just not going through the gears at all.
Yeah, Liam Scales is going to have to regain his composure. Certainly that pass which led to Rangers' goal, played the ball into the middle, Rangers swarming all over the Celtic midfield, which is something that I think a number of Rangers fans were hoping would be the case in previous games. And then they took full advantage with the opening goal of the match. Celtic now trying to get forward, but I think there was a handball there from Rio Hatate, and they've been penalised. But lots of people will be watching this game, wondering near and far if indeed there's going to be a win for Rangers to cut the deficit back down to 11 points, and that's the key for this.
Yep, Jan Parker Douglas saying, I think it's Hagi Senior out there today, a goal that his dad certainly would have been proud of in the opening exchanges here. Just bring you a little bit of breaking news elsewhere, Peter. Colby, who's up in Aberdeen for us, the game's been paused there due to heavy snow, so one to keep an eye on there, whether that one will continue going into the first half.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people were disappointed at New Year. Obviously, the celebrations, always great in Edinburgh with the fireworks, but they were cancelled as well. High winds, the real fear. And again, Kobe up there in Aberdeen, where it has been predicted that there's going to be some really heavy snow and, of course, wintry conditions as Celtic come close. Maeda cutting in on his right foot there on that left flank and just whipping it past the post.
Yeah, he's been quiet. You know, Celtic have not got the ball out to him enough, I don't think. Yeah, pretty poor effort at goal. I think he'll just be happy to get a touch of the ball. He's not really been in the game. And I think that's obviously an area where Celtic would have seen, you know, Ridvan playing right back. You know, you think get the ball out to Maeda, but you know, Celtic have been unable to do that. And that was the first kind of look at goal that Maeda's had.
Liam Kelly hasn't had a save to make, Ruffy.
No, he hasn't, and as Tam said there, Maeda and Kuhn are the two players that you would think that the Celtic would be trying to get the ball as quick as possible and get at these two fullbacks. But you have to give all credit to Rangers. You know, they're snapping at McGregor's heels. They're in at the Celtic midfield, just not giving them the time to build up the play.
As a goalkeeper, Ruffy, that's the type of games you love playing in, isn't it? Nothing really to do, knowing full well that you were potentially on a bonus at the end of it.
Oh, you always like a wee bonus, you know. Not the kind of bonus that these guys are on.
Yeah, let it go, Ruffy, will you? Anyway, apart from anything else, if you were assessing this game after 23 minutes, I don't think anyone would disagree. Rangers the better side by far in this game, despite the fact that Kyogo was trying to close down Liam Kelly there. Rangers have settled well, started well, capitalised on a mistake by Celtic, scored the goal, and then built on that, Tam.
Yeah, and definitely been the better side, but I think if you're a Rangers supporter, you're definitely wanting that second goal. I think they're 2-0. You know, Celtic get the next goal, you're probably thinking they're favourites to go in and win it. Rangers get that second goal. You know, they've been unable to kind of do that. You know, go 2 goals clear, the opportunities in the final to do it, and they couldn't do it. But the second goal gives them a little bit of a cushion, because you'd be thinking as a Celtic fan, you've been really, really poor first 23 minutes, and you're going to improve as the game goes on.
Yeah, Cameron Carter-Vickers striding out there. I think somebody's told him he's Virgil van Dijk. He's just gone past 2 there. But the reason why the fans are responding is because the man wearing the captain's armband is the standout for me at the moment, and that's Nico Raskin.
Yeah, he's stopping Celtic's main player, Callum McGregor, getting on the ball at all, dominating the game as he usually does, and he's not started well at all. So, you know, I think Raskin has been the best player for Rangers so far.
1-0 to Rangers, the goal from Ianis Hagi. Thank you to so many of you for joining us right across our social media on Facebook, on X and on our YouTube channel. And this season, coming up, we are going to bring you as much unique content as we possibly can from our reporters, giving you all the insight into the games, the managers, the players, one-to-one interviews, lots of things that I think you're going to enjoy in our new year 2025. We've had some fantastic pieces of content in 2024, and we're going to continue that as well. And hopefully, with your support, you can give us your thoughts as we bring you right up to date with what's happening across the Scottish Premiership. And let's not forget, there's a small matter of a Dundee derby today as well, which is a fantastic occasion. You've got to have the derbies in the top flight, Ruffy, and Dundee, the whole city's dominated by it.
Yeah, certainly Dundee United doing well just now. You know, Dundee will obviously hope they can get a win in that one. I'm sure anybody that's played in a derby, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic experience that your own fans are going to celebrate, and this is a big one, the same as them all.
Yeah, Achill Wright has scored for Ross County at Pittodrie in that game that was paused there. They're 1-0 up in that match. Aberdeen gone off the boil, and I think I was looking at some of the stats. Aberdeen, if they had won and continued to play the way they managed to do in those 17-18 opening games under Jimmy Tilleen, they could have been clear by quite some distance over Rangers when you consider Rangers' poor form over the last 4 or 5 weeks. But now Rangers are coming forward looking for that second goal, but it's side netting from Ridvan Yilmaz there. I think he was looking for a corner.
Yeah, unfortunately it's just on his right hand side, his right foot, but lovely little pocket there, picks the ball up and plays it wide, and you know, good overlap from Ridvan. You know, Cherney sticks him in. I think that would maybe a deflection. It's hard to see. I think that should probably have been a corner to Rangers there, but
Rangers
just picking Celtic off and that, and try to play out.
And of course, Czerny looking to link up here with Igaman, and if Rangers could get that second goal, that really would give them confidence to build. And of course, it would reduce that gap. Philip Clement certainly doesn't think there is a huge difference between the sides. You're laughing, Ruffy, because, well, I think Ianis Hagi's looking for a penalty.
I don't know. I think he's looking for a corner at least. I didn't think he was going. I don't think he thought he was going to get it. But
he just sent somebody for a pine bobber there, didn't he?
Yeah, it was Johnson. It was like absolutely fantastic. His skill was sensational, and I think he was looking for the hand there. Ruffy, was it a hand from Johnson? I thought so.
No, for me, no.
Oh well, yeah, that's our first disagreement of 2025, and there's more to come, I can tell you. As Celtic are able to get it clear, but the one thing that Rangers have been doing is not only pressing well, Tam,
picking up the second balls.
Yeah, second balls, and when they are passing, when you consider some of the passing in the game against Motherwell, they are quick, they are linking up well, and that's something that Celtic are just not doing in this match.
Yeah, they've just
Lost possession
look up
again.
for the game. They look up for the game, you know. I think Celtic are going through the motions. They're a yard off it all over the park. There's not one Celtic player you would say get past marks, and Rangers are swarming all over them. Energy, you know, pace, you know, keeping the ball, and as I say, 27 minutes gone. You know, by far the better side.
Yeah, the other aspect of this, which you've got to remember, and I'll mention this because this is what happens in games of this magnitude. If you can't get that second goal, then suddenly there is always a moment where there is a chance. I think everybody's been talking about Celtic and what they are doing and how far they can go ahead of Rangers, but there was a real hope from Rangers fans heading to Ibrox that they were going to show the fans that they were up for this match, and they are indeed up for this match. Can they reduce the gap to only 11 points? It's small consolation, I think many Rangers fans, and although they wouldn't say it, many Rangers players would believe that this league is over as far as a contest. Celtic will win the league, but Rangers want to get a little bit of credibility and respect for their performance today, and they're getting that at the moment because they are swarming all over the Celtic goal, and in the end the ball goes behind, and I think quite a lot of people just acknowledging the work of Diamandi there, trying to threaten the Celtic goal, but it's still at this point, after 29 minutes, Rangers 1, Celtic 0. Blair?
Yep, the poll we have here on YouTube, increasing those numbers are going down to 68% now for a Celtic win, which was way up in the high 80s before kick-off. So obviously a lot more of Rangers fans coming on. And as Rangers, as you say, looking the better team in this opening half hour. If we take a look at some of the stats so far for halfway through the half, the Ichi Pichi in possession, Rangers having 8 shots on goal to Celtic's 2, really showing the dominance. Celtic not managing a shot on target yet after half an hour, which Brendan Rodgers surely won't be happy about. Dublin's Fair City here, Kunin Maida not in the game, Kyogo getting no service, and Scales a liability at the back so far, a scathing analysis.
Yeah, that's not the whole of Dublin, by the way, that's just his tag on YouTube about it as well. And for the benefit of anyone who's under the age of 40, Ichi Pichi is much the same as Ichi Pixie, Ruffy.
Yeah.
It's just Blair's now taking your disease, which is, if it sounds like it, I'll say it.
I can't see that how it's easy peasy. I think Rangers have got most of the dominance, most of the possession of the ball, and they've done their homework. You know, there's Cameron Vickers again. There's nobody available to. Well, he got a pass there, but any other ones it just hasn't been working at all. And for me, I think Rangers have done their homework, and there's certain players that they've got to stop Celtic from playing.
Well, the other aspect of this, quite simply, is Maeda hasn't really threatened.
No, him and Kuhn's been terrible. You know, he's gave the ball away enough every time he's got it in the wide areas. Maeda can't get on the ball. You know, and as I said, there's no really any Celtic players, you know, a little bit of composure and putting their foot in the ball. And Rangers just, as I said, just look so much up for the game. You know, they look a hungry team. Celtic look as if, even if they get beat today, we'll still win the league. That's that type of performance, Peter, so far. And as I said, if Rangers get the second goal, a long, long way back for Celtic.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to point out to you, Ruffy, and you've got to keep this in mind, you know, in these situations when you've got a team that are so far ahead, you know, everybody's talking about the advantage that they could have had. I've watched 1,000,001 Old Firm games down through the years when Rangers were winning 9 in a row. Sometimes they lost games that really didn't have any great bearing You know, they lose to Celtic in a game that didn't really have any great bearing on the overall outcome of the title.
No, I'm sure most of the Celtic fans can handle, they won't want to lose the game, but I think they would take it, you know, with the amount of points that Celtic are clear. But you always want to win derby games, there's no doubt about that. But at this moment in time, you know, Rangers are dominating this game, and I think Brendan Rodgers will have to come up with something special.
Musadrami is the man who's got the goal for Hearts, the leading at this moment over Motherwell. Ross County were leading against Aberdeen by a goal to nil. Similar situation at Kilmarnock, where Bruce Anderson had a penalty saved but actually converted from the rebound. No goals between St Johnstone and Hibs. And as you can tell, Tam McManus a far happier man now that Hibs are back in a big way and heading towards the top end of the table. David Gray has managed to ride out the storm, Tam, as we just slightly digress for a moment.
Yeah, he has. I think 4 wins in a row is great going. I think from that Dundee game where they lost 4-1, he was under serious pressure. But you know, Blair was at the game. You know, it's probably as comfortable as I've seen Hibs in a derby game, particularly at Tynecastle, where they've not got a great record, and I thought they won the game comfortably. And all of a sudden, from being I think 26 points behind Aberdeen at one point, they're only 10 behind, and it could be cut again today. So yeah, it's certainly a better end to 2024 than it did start for Hibs.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, if you want to see or read indeed any kind of erratic writing, then you get it in Tam's column. Sack him, back him, sack him, give him a bigger job. He's one of the finest managers of his generation. And then it just goes from there to he's a dud. It's as simple as that. Is that fair, Ruffy?
Most definitely.
Callum McGregor's picked up a yellow card. Hasn't had it all his own way at Ibrox today, Ruffy.
No, I'm saying Rangers have got their homework done. They're letting Cameron Vickers, they're letting Scales get the ball because they know the next pass is going to be to McGregor, and they're really on top of him right away. He hasn't been able to settle in the game at all, but neither has Hatate. You know, the three main players in Celtic's midfield are just not in this game at all.
Czerny has got a free kick for Rangers. Rangers, after scoring that goal after 7 minutes, Hagi with a lovely left-footed shot, low, right into the bottom corner, diving to his left-hand side. Kasper Schmeichel could do nothing about it. But that goal then filled Rangers with confidence to, again, threaten the Celtic goal on a couple of occasions. They haven't been able to build on it, and it's still only one goal, which I think, to be perfectly honest with you, when you get a situation like this, Tam, still only one goal in it. Brendan Rodgers will be hoping they can get to half-time just behind by a goal, or maybe even level, and then try to steady the ship.
Yeah, I think that Celtic will be delighted to get it 1-0 here. I think that Brendan Rodgers will be standing in that touchline fuming at the performance so far. You can see it again here. You know, they're playing risky football. You know, Rangers are going and pressing them. They can't get up the pitch, can't keep the ball to get up the park. It's unusual for a Celtic team that's usually good in possession. But Rangers, as I said, energy, you know, willingness, hunger. You know, they've really been the better side so far. And as I said, I think Brendan will be happy to get at half-time 1-0 and get a rocket up a few players.
Yeah, you might say high risk, but quite simply, Brendan Rodgers wants his side to play this way, and right now, because Rangers are playing high intensity football as well, high press off the ball, they're able just to break down so many of the Celtic moves here, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Celtic supporters watching this will not believe what they're seeing. You know, in light of what Celtic have been like this year, main dominance of the possession of the ball, it's just not happened today at all. I can't give any Celtic player a pass mark in this game so far. Yeah,
passing accuracy 89% normally. Today dropped to 77%. Celtic just not at it in this match. And I think sometimes you can lose sight of it. For me, Tam, this is all about Rangers and how they're playing, the way they're going about their business. And again, what a chance this is for Rangers to build on the lead there. But Hagi, I think, couldn't quite get the connection he was looking for as they were able to break down another Celtic move and drive forward. Now Celtic just further up the park, looking for a free kick. They're not going to get it. The referee, Don Robertson, has just said, play on. It was a fair challenge, and Rangers are able to break out once again. But if it's not poor passes, look, again, Hagi had the opportunity.
That was a foul.
Well, he might be looking barged into by Bernardo.
Yeah, I thought that was a free kick. I think that was a clear foul. And it wasn't given. But again, it was Hatate, I think, in the middle of the park with a sloppy pass. And it's been run right through the whole Celtic team, a real sloppiness about the performance.
And any loose ball that's just dropping there, Rangers just picking every ball up.
And they're threatening the Celtic goal once more, looking to build on it. Can they get that second goal? Can they get the all-important second goal? Czerny on his left peg is certainly more than capable and tried on that occasion to threaten Kasper Schmeichel in the Celtic goal, but they weren't able to get it on target. Celtic just desperately looking towards their captain to lead by example, to break out, and he picks himself a free kick up inside his own half, which quite simply is where Celtic have spent most of the first half, unable to threaten the Rangers goal. Liam Kelly hasn't had a save to make, and Rangers haven't really had anything to deal with bar a couple of corners early on.
Well, what Rangers have done is they've stopped the dangerous men in Maeda and Kuhn, wide balls, and when they get wide balls they usually fire quality balls into the box for Kyogo, but that's not happened. Both of the Rangers fullbacks have been non-tight right beside them, not allowing them to turn, not allowing them to play the game that they want to play, and there's not enough movement for the Celtic midfield for me. I think if you look at the game, you look at the Rangers players, whatever they've learnt for all the other games, they're using it today.
Yeah, and a lot has been made of the Rangers players that have not appeared in this game because of injuries, and quite simply I think there was maybe a fear from a number of Rangers fans that this could have been a difficult match for them, but right now they've been playing superbly well, winning the tackles, winning the second balls, and taking full advantage of the opportunity that arose in the 7th minute when Hagi drove the ball with his left foot past Kasper Schmeichel in the goal. And here's another chance for Rangers, but only a last gasp. Cameron Carter's outstretched leg stopped Rangers getting a second chance to take the double their advantage, Ruffy, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'd like to see that one again. I thought it was offside, but it was good passing from Rangers to cut open the Celtic defence. But again, they're struggling to play out for the back. Rangers on top of them all the time. There's nobody shown for the ball. Like McGregor usually gets the ball, he dictates who's the next pass is going to be. So it's not happened for them. But as we know in these games, if you get a chance, the possession of the ball is terrible for Celtic today. I don't understand it.
Well, I think, again, I think these games sometimes you can, get caught up in the madness of it when it goes from one end to the other. But there's only one way the ball is going at the moment, and that's towards the Celtic goal. And that is down to Rangers, their performance. The fans will be lifted and heartened by what they're witnessing at Ibrox today, because if the manager was looking for a response, if the manager was looking for a Rangers side to show that they are up for it in this game, then they have delivered big time. With 39 minutes now gone, Rangers are leading by a 1-0. They're winning those second balls. Their goalkeeper has had little to do, if at all, anything to do in this match. He's not been threatened. Maeda's been unable to get down that left flank, put in any great crosses. And Celtic's distribution from the back has been woeful, to say the least. And that's down to the high press and the work rate from Rangers. Kuhn on the right flank has been unable to really open them up. Maybe now Celtic have got a chance to get a shot away in this game, but brilliant defending once more by Jefty is able to curtail the hopes of Rio Hatate.
Yeah, it was better play from Celtic. They worked it in the middle of the park in a good area. Good run from Hatate. I think he just maybe loses his foot in here. Yeah, I think he just slips, and I think it was Sterling coming across and getting the tackle in. But yeah, just a little bit, of better play from Celtic there. But as I said, Rangers have been thoroughly dominant. But this game all changes with the next goal for me.
Yeah,
I think if Celtic get it, they'll be, they can go and win the game. Rangers get it. It's a long, long way back for Celtic, but the next goal's massive.
Well, you're less than 5 minutes left. I'm not too sure there'll be maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes added on, because the game hasn't really had any kind of great injuries that I can recall. It's been flowing constantly. And of course, if you're looking at the flow, it's been flowing towards the Celtic goal, and Czerny certainly is fit enough to start in this match. And a chance for Rangers once more that was flashed across the goal, didn't really threaten. Yilmaz, who's playing in that right back position. Ruffy, if anything, when you're looking at the Rangers' positives, not only has the midfield won that battle so far, but Yilmaz is able to get forward in a threatening position as well.
Yeah, and if you look at Yilmaz in particularly the Motherwell game, I thought he was the weak link defensively, but Celtic haven't been able to get at him at all. And going forward, he's very, very good. And again, he's a fullback getting into a goal-scoring opportunity, which Celtic's fullbacks haven't gotten anywhere near. They're not even been over the halfway line in this game. So, no, I think Brendan Rodgers will have to seriously think about half-time. I think he could quite easily take 2 or 3 Celtic players off.
Yeah, well, I think Philippe Clement will probably look and say to himself, listen, the pre-match, the chat that I asked from you, the chat that I delivered was basically just give me every ounce of energy, press Celtic, replicate what Rangers did in the cup final, but you'll be hoping there's a different outcome.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Peter. The Rangers have got nothing to lose. You know, they're 14 points behind. They've just got to go out and try and win the game. You know, it's a one-off game. I think they're taking a lot of confidence from the way they played in the final. I think they matched Celtic all the way to penalty kicks. And probably were the better team on the night. And they've definitely taken confidence from that because, you know, look at the performance so far in the first half. You know, they've been all over Celtic at times. Celtic have been poor, but you've got to give Rangers credit for the way they've pressed. But as I said, come up to half-time, Celtic will be delighted, I think, to get it 1-0 and rejig it, maybe make a couple of changes at half-time.
Star man for Rangers?
I think there's been a lot of them, Peter. I think there's been standouts all over the park. I think Jeffty's kept Kuhn quiet. I think Raskin's been excellent. Diamande. Obviously, Hagi getting the goal. Czerny's looked dangerous. So I think Rangers have had 6 or 7 players playing at a real top of their game. I don't think Celtic have had any.
The reason why I would pick Raskin, Ruffy, is because for so many of these games, when you look back on why Rangers have lost it, everybody's highlighted the fact that Callum McGregor's been able to boss the game. He hasn't been able to do it here.
No, he certainly hasn't. That's why I'm saying Rangers have got the homework right. They've sat down, obviously, pre-match. You know, they've looked at the strengths of Celtic, and Callum McGregor is one of them. You know, in all the games that they've played, they just can't get a hold of the ball at all. The Rangers are picking up every spare ball that's flying about on the park.
Just the last couple of minutes in the watch along here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We'd love to hear from you at half time. Give us your thoughts on what you make of that game, not only on our X account, but on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, where at the moment at Ibrox is Rangers 1, Celtic 0. Ianis Hagi, his first goal in 2 years, getting the lead for Philippe Clement's side, and I think they deserve all the credit for the way they're playing. They're forcing Celtic into mistakes, they're working hard, they're making sure if there's any secondary balls, they're picking it up, and if Celtic are on the ball, they are pressing them constantly, trying to force them into mistakes. They haven't really been able to get any great shot on target. They haven't been able to get any great passage of play because Rangers quite simply have worked their socks off, and they find themselves a goal to the good, Ruffy.
They certainly have. It was another slack pass again from Celtic, and Rangers picking it up. Yeah, I think a lot of talking needs to be done at half-time. As Tam said, there hasn't been a failure in that Rangers team, and I can't look at it. There's another one. You know, the Celtic passing has been absolutely deplorable.
What a roar you will undoubtedly be able to hear if you're watching that game, Tam. If you're at that game, the roar inside Ibrox, if they go in at 1-0 at the break from the Rangers fans, who are quite simply witnessing what they were craving for the first half of the season.
Yeah, I have. I think the players have went and played for the jersey. I think that's what supporters want. They want to see players running, fighting. You know, particularly a derby game against Celtic, and Rangers have been tremendous in the first half. You know, Celtic, I think, could make changes at half time. I think Scales should come off. I think he's had a nightmare. I think he's gave the ball away constantly, particularly for the goal. I think you might see Trusty coming on. You've got Engels on there as well. You've got Ida, who maybe gives you a focal point to hold the ball up. So I think you might see Brendan Rodgers ringing the changes at half time in the back of this first half performance.
Yeah, Celtic trying to get something in the last seconds of the first half, but Rangers yet again. What are you laughing at?
Kuhn's another one.
Just unbelievable. I mean, Celtic supporters out there will be looking at the strength of this Celtic team has been passing at pace and passing to one another. They haven't passed anything to one another at all. But you have to give credit to Rangers for closing them down.
Yeah, it's poor passing, But Rangers, when they have the ball, have been threatening, especially in that final third. And if they don't have the ball, their work rate, they're certainly giving them everything that the Rangers manager, Philippe Clement, had asked for. There was all sorts of talk, and we were also included in it prior to kick-off, all sorts of chat about the possibility of Rangers looking and maybe replacing their manager. But I think there are signs at times, just glimpses, not as many as Rangers fans would like, just glimpses of the kind of football that they are capable of. And there's going to be a free kick for Celtic just in the last couple of seconds. Kuhn has taken, I think it's a yellow card for Jefty there. He just took a little knock from Jefty in the face.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think he's meant to do it, but he's just caught him with his arm there. A yellow card's probably the right call. But as I said, he's handled Kuhn very well in the first half. He's definitely been a dominant player, but obviously now on a yellow card, you'll be looking to try and get the ball out to Kuhn as often you can, get him running at him.
The last thing Rangers want right now, Ruffy, is to lose a goal which would really distort the first 45 minutes. In fact, Kuhn has got a blooded nose after that exchange with Jefty.
Yeah, I think it was accidental. Just one of these things, I'm sure he'll get up, they'll sort it out very quickly. And I think this is a big play for Celtic. They've done nothing for 47 minutes. 47.
47 minutes, yeah.
It felt like 57 if you're a Celtic player.
Well, I just think all the plaudits, and we will get some comments from Blair. Yellow card, or are they looking? Should they be looking at that for something more serious?
I don't think so, Peter. I think he's obviously caught him a cracker. He's burst his nose, but I don't think he's meant to do him. I don't think it's a red card. I'd be surprised if they were looking at it. I think the referee's got that right with the yellow.
Yeah, same here. Is it a clear and obvious error from the referee? Certainly at this moment, Kuhn will not be caring about anything from the VAR department. So he'll just be wondering if they can stem the flow of blood on his nose. That's one of those ones that can...
you ever broke your nose, Ruffy?
You're having a laugh.
It's a sore one for Nicholas Kuhn at the moment. He hasn't really been in this match, Ruffy, has he?
No, again, you've got to give Rangers credit. The full-backs have been tight on both the main players in the Celtic forward line. They need the two wide men to give Kyogo the service, which hasn't been getting in. There was anything flashed across the goal that you could use Kyogo's sort of a half a yard ahead of centre forwards, centre half. So, I think it's been well played and well worked out in the Rangers' behalf.
I just wonder if the fourth official here, he's clearly talking with Brendan Rodgers. I think Brendan Rodgers is maybe saying to him, listen, that needed another look. I don't think it was anything more than a yellow.
No, I think the wee kick he had to get the ball and missed it and hit him was more of a case to say than the hand. I mean, the hand was just two arms just flying out there. I don't think there was any malice in it whatsoever.
Okay, we will be probably another 20-25 seconds. Enough time for Celtic to take a free kick at the end of the first half, and a first half that we will debate here. You can give us your thoughts on it as well. What do you make of Rangers 1, Celtic 0? We're in the last few seconds of the first half. Celtic with a chance to throw that ball into the box and look to the likes of Cameron Carter-Vickers and Kyogo's hovering in there. Liam Scales trying to get on the end of it, but Rangers defend it well. And again, everybody looking and wondering when the referee, Don Robertson, is going to blow for half-time. But have Celtic got time to take a corner here? The referee is still allowing some time after that little exchange between Jefty and Nicholas Kuhn. It will be a corner to Celtic, a last chance for them at the end of the first half to try and get back on level terms. Rangers have dominated this Old Firm fixture at Ibrox, but as Celtic got a chance, and a great save by Liam Kelly. What a save that was, because it was driven in at pace. It took a bounce right out in front of him, and he was able just to push that ball away. Great save at the end of the first half.
What a fantastic save at the right time. We know he's got that kind of save in him. He was in the right place at the right time. He just reacted to it very, very quickly. But super save and well done.
Well, it's a bit of aggro at the end. Don Robertson has booked Nicholas Raskin, and I'm not quite sure. I did not see what that was for there. And I think Raskin just having a little tete-a-tete with Callum McGregor, grabbing his shirt, and I think that prompted the referee to bring out the yellow card there. He was getting angry with Callum McGregor.
Yeah, I think it's just a scuffle towards the end of the game, and it's a stupid yellow card. You know, he's obviously going to miss a game. He's got a yellow card in him.
Well, Raskin is making the point that McGregor also was involved in the altercation. McGregor had been yellow carded already.
Yeah, I don't think McGregor was aggressor there. I think it was Raskin who kind of raised his hands and grabbed him. It's a pity for Raskin because he's been superb the first half. He's a great performance, and that's just a stupid yellow card. You know, you need to play with your head in these games, not your heart, and you know, that's going to put him under pressure a little bit in the second half as well.
And half-time, Rangers 1, Celtic 0. Philippe Clement walking towards the tunnel, talking to Don Robertson, the referee. But if he gets up that tunnel, I think he'll be happy with what Rangers have delivered in that first 45 minutes. The story of the first 45 minutes, Rangers 1, Celtic 0. After 7 minutes, it was Liam Scales playing the ball into the middle of the park. Rangers were able to quickly close Celtic down, take full advantage of it. When the ball came to Raskin, he just had a little touch into the path of Ianis Hagi, and his left foot shot was low to the left-hand side of Kasper Schmeichel, nestling into the bottom corner of the net. It's 1-0 to Rangers. They had a couple of chances to build on that, but Celtic able to thwart them. And as far as chances at the other end, right at the death there, a great shot coming in, which was saved by Liam Kelly. But other than that, Celtic have been poor. Rangers have been well worthy of their goal advantage. 1-0 at the end of the first 45 minutes.
Yep, I'll talk you through the stats of that first half, Peter. Celtic maybe surprisingly dominating the possession with 58% to Rangers 42%. However, it really tells the story of it in the total shots of the match. Rangers with 12 shots to Celtic's 3. Rangers only 2 on target, but Celtic only 1 shot on target. That one at the very end there, that save from Liam Kelly. Had to wait until the 4th minute of stoppage time for Celtic to get a shot on target in that first half, which is something they will definitely want to address at half-time. If we take a little look at our poll that's been running on YouTube, the whole of the first half. Don't forget you can leave your comments on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. Our poll currently, Rangers at 24%, 11% the draw, and still 65% to Celtic to come back and win this game. A couple of comments from the feed. Brendan will be sharpening the scythe for the half-time team talk. This has been the worst Celtic non-performance in a long time. Rob Lilly here says Celtic are not matching the stride patterns defending, overconfident on the ball from a good Rangers press, but he's confident Celtic can still win this one. And Graham Caldwell here, Rangers definitely need the next goal. There's probably, we'll get that back in 1 second. There's probably a mistake in the Rangers defence that something similar might happen as it did in the League Cup final. And just finally, take a little look at the betting after that first half. Rangers are into 8-13, 5-2 the draw, and Celtic out to 9-2 after that first half.
Well, and the story of the first half is all about Rangers.
It certainly is. You know, Rangers have been absolutely impressive. Right from the very, very start. They've stopped Celtic's main players. I mean, McGregor, the 2 wide men. They've put pressure on Scales at the back. They've identified the weakness in Celtic, if there is any, and they've exploited it today. And there hasn't been a failure in that Rangers team.
Quite a few comments coming in on the first 45 minutes. Although Martin's not happy with me, he says, "Geez, peace, Peter." Raskin's trying to get Callum McGregor sent off.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of that in that there as well. He knows he's on a booking. He's maybe trying to just wind him up and get him the second red card. But, you know, I agree with one of the comments here. I don't think Celtic can be as bad in the second half. I think Rangers will be disappointed they're only 1-0 up, Peter. I think with the level of performance they've put in there, you know, they should be 2 or 3 goals up and the game should be over. We've seen it before. Goals change games. Next goal for me is massive. Celtic get it. I think maybe in the game, Rangers get it. I think that's game over. So... Big team talk for Brendan Rodgers. I also agree with it's probably one of the worst performances I've seen from Celtic in a while. It's been really, really poor. And listen, I don't think any Celtic player could argue if they get the hook at half time.
Blair.
Interesting one here that says Celtic are playing like they've already won the league with no energy today. Fair enough, they are still way ahead, but for the Celtic perspective, they will always want a win in these games. Also a bit of criticism for Greg Taylor in that first half, not a player that really stood out to me. However, saying Greg Taylor most likely off either in January or at the end of this season. Don't even know why he's playing. This should be his last game in the hoops.
Aberdeen 1, Ross County 1, and Kevin Nisbet's got a goal, an equalising goal, after Ross County had taken the lead through right. But Nisbet has equalised 11 minutes into injury time. That match was paused because of some wild snow up there at Pittodrie. Hearts 1, Motherwell 0, and it's Musa Drame who's managed to get that goal. And we mentioned earlier, Bruce Anderson had a chance to score from the penalty spot, but then, of course, it was saved. The ball came back out. Anderson converted. So that's Kilmarnock leading by a goal to nil. St Johnstone 1 up on Hibs. Nicky Clark from the penalty spot 4 minutes into injury time at the end of the first half. Yeah, and I was just about to say, well, listen, don't go too early. Jason Holt's been sent off for St Johnstone, so Hibs could come back in. Let's talk about the quality of the first half of the goal from Ianis Hagi, Ruffy. He hit it sweetly. Schmeichel, could he have done better?
I think he could have moved his feet a wee bit better. You know, I mean, he's a quality goalkeeper. You know, that ball's hit from, 20 yards, you know. It's went through, I think, Cameron Vickers, but I think he himself would think he could have moved a wee bit quicker to get it. But again, it was the scales. It was a crazy pass across the midfield. You know, I don't know who he was trying to find in that instance, but he gets certainly caught out. And you have to give credit to the Rangers players who put it away.
Yeah, Czerny had a chance which came off the back of Liam Scales, and the ball sailed onto the bar with Schmeichel absolutely helpless. And it looked as if that shot there was from Kyogo right at the death. That was really Celtic's best chance of the game. And it was, in fact, Rio Hatate. He caught it sweetly on the half volley, Tam.
Yeah, he did good save with the goalkeeper, and that'd have been robbery for Celtic. I think they in it one each. I mean, they've been putting the lottery on the night. But no, that's the only kind of chance that Celtic have created, which is incredible when you look at the Celtic performances of late, you know, creating and scoring a lot of goals, but certainly been by far second best that first half.
Yeah, and there was another opportunity for Rangers as well, which, again, had it not been for the intervention of Cameron Carter-Vickers, it could have been 2-0.
Yeah, super tackle. He's been doing it for the last 2 seasons, making these crucial tackles at the right time, and I think that was an opportunity for Rangers to get another goal.
Blair.
Interesting, a lot of comparisons here to Celtic's Champions League performances with how they've played in this half. John here saying Celtic are hopeless, Rangers are all over them. This is the worst performance since Dortmund, which obviously we know how that one ended. Yeah, just a lot of criticism for Celtic in that first half. A few Celtic fans on the feed still hopeful that they can come back and win this one. But again, a lot of compliments for the press that Rangers have been doing in this first half. The Flying Haggis here says it's like a Champions League away performance. Celtic just giving the ball away far too easily.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you though, in these games, and again, as ever, sometimes it can become erratic, Tam, when you have a situation where people are looking at a game, they are caught up in it, they get exasperated, they are either pro-Celtic or pro-Rangers, and they make these wild comments. It's still 1-0. Philippe Clement will be in there saying, absolutely magnificent. If you are in any way tired, get off, get somebody else on who can give all the energy and all the effort that you delivered in the first half. The Rangers players have been magnificent. I think from a Rangers perspective, what do you think Philippe Clement says to the team?
It's same again. I think go out there and play with the same intensity, the same energy levels. It's going to be hard for Rangers to do that for 95 minutes. You know, there's going to be a lull in the game where Celtic come into it, and you've got to, you know, just suffer that bit and see that bit out and keep your lead. But yeah, I think if you're Philippe Clement, you're the coaching staff, you're just going around the players and saying, well done, keep it up, keep the same level up, and we'll win the game, try and get the next goal. As I said, the goals change games. I don't think Celtic will be as bad. They can't be as bad as they were in the first half. And you know, the next goal clearly is massive. If Rangers get it, I think that's curtains. I don't see Celtic coming back for the levels that they've been at today from 2-0 down, but the energy they'll get from maybe equalising and taking it to one each, they can go and win the game. But I think the first 10-15 minutes will tell you everything. If Celtic come out and start on the front foot, you'll know that Brendan Rodgers has really got into a few at half time. And if Rangers come out and it's the same pattern of play, pressure, Celtic giving the ball away, then I think Rangers are going to win the game.
Well, if we were talking about it, and Tam mentioned that Philippe Clement will be saying to the Rangers players, look, same again, same energy, same pressing, let's see if we can get another chance. What is Brendan Rodgers saying, bearing in mind, Ruffy, that he has been credited time and time again with making changes on the hour with the abundance of quality he has on the bench?
I think you'll see maybe one change when they come out. You know, you're right, he usually makes them run about 60, 62 minutes in a game. But I think in this game, when they're not in the game at all, he's got to identify the players that need to come off the park. And it's a big shout from him. You know, for me, Bernardo, it's not his kind of game. I think Rangers have made it quite a physical game. You know, I don't think Celtic are a physical side. They want to be nice on the ball. They don't want. There's not many players in that Celtic team that are going to fly into tackles and make it a physical game. So I think he's got to win possession of the ball first and stop giving away crazy passes.
Yeah, another thing as well, Tam, and this is the type of top punditry that you get from Ruffy, not just 60 minutes, but 62 minutes. He's now highlighting exactly the 2-minute change, that could happen, that could change the game.
New year, new Ruffy. That's it. He's doing his research now.
Absolutely.
He's in that 60-second minute, and he's not been generalising it. He's going bang, 62 minutes, 34 seconds.
Let's put ourselves on. Who's coming off?
I would.
Who's not going to come out in that second half?
He could take anybody off. I think he'll take Scales off. I think he'll take Scales off and put Trusty on. Yep.
Judging by the feed, there is a lot of shouts for Hatate to come off at half.
Hatate's been poor as well, but I mean, Kuhn's been dreadful.
I think
you could take anybody off, Peter. There's not one player that could you put your hand up and say.
I think he'll revert.
Kyogo's been poor.
He'll revert to type on the hour, and I think he'll take off Bernardo and put Engels on, and then he'll bring on Ida and take Kyogo off. And then from there,
Tala touched the ball.
Absolutely, but listen, it's 45 minutes where the intriguing thing for me is quite simply Rangers. What they do in the second half, can they maintain the energy levels? Can they continue to build on that? And then what changes, and significant ones, can Brendan Rodgers make in this game to change the outcome of it for them? If some Celtic fans are talking about how can it get any worse, you're looking now and saying, well, what's the response like? The Rangers are still only leading by 1-0, Ruffy, and this is a Celtic side, that's 14 points clear at the top of the table. So they're going to offer something. Yeah,
but we're looking at the game, the evidence of the first half, they're not offering anything. And that's a big problem for Brendan Rodgers, because if you look at most of the Celtic games, they are 17 shots at goal, 20 shots at goal. They've had, what did you say, one shot at goal?
One shot at target.
One shot at target, so it's a big, massive decision to make, because, they're not showing anything at all, not in the form that they usually are in, or the pace that they play at, and Rangers, as I said, have identified, the big players. So he's got to, Kyogo, for me, if he's not getting a supply, he's well not been on the park, because it's like the European games, he just runs about and chases people down, and it's not his fault, because the ball's not getting wide and it's not coming into the box. So that's a big decision they've got to make as well.
Second half fast approaching, Blair.
Rangers 4-6 favourites to win this game now going into the second half. Celtic out to 4-1 on our poll we were running on YouTube. Rangers now 31% with our audience to win this game. Celtic 54% to make the comeback and 15% the draw. A couple of shouts, interestingly, that may have been a red card at the end of the first half for JFD's touch on the face, the hand into the face of Nicholas Kuhn. I think the general consensus on first viewing that it wasn't a red card, but there isn't an old firm game without something contentious to talk about.
Yeah, well, if he's made a clear and obvious error, the VAR would highlight it, and this is why, again, we can see the replay on it. Is he worthy of it? Look at the elbow and ask yourself, I didn't think it was...
I thought it was a kick.
It's not the kick, it's the elbow. Is the elbow worthy? Has he made a mistake there? There's your contentious moment so far.
Look at the kick.
I don't think it's a red card, honestly.
I don't think it's a red card, but I think it's one of these ones you would look at.
Is there a yellow card for the kick, Rafael?
Oh no, it's for the hand. It's just the
hand
hand
to the
hit his
face.
face. I don't think it's a red card.
Neither do I, Tam.
No, not a red card for me. No, I think it's a sore one for Kuhn.
Yeah.
It catches him clearly on the right in the beak, but nah, it's not a red card for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if you're talking about credit in the first half, it's all to Rangers. The home side have responded to the patriotic crowd that's there. It's all Rangers fans. There's no Celtic fans inside Ibrox. So there'll be some board members up in the in the stand who in their right mind would want to sit in the stand when you don't have any supporters. I do not know, Ruffy. But certainly, if you're talking about almost 50,000 fans there, the credit goes to Rangers, to Philippe Clement. He's got the tactics right on this one. And, you know, if at the end of it, Rangers can get a confidence-boosting win, it will reduce the gap to 11 points. Can Celtic respond in the second half in this one? That's the big question. Give us your thoughts on our YouTube feed, on X, on Facebook as well. We'd love to hear from you, what you have to say about the big game. Rangers 1, Celtic 0. Ianis Hagi has scored the goal after 7 minutes, and at the end of the first 45 minutes, certainly no shortage of comment, controversy from numerous people, numerous fans, certainly here on our panel. We're looking at the contentious moments. Callum McGregor picked up a yellow card and then had a little tete-a-tete with Nicholas Raskin. Only Raskin was booked, which I think peeved the Rangers captain. Raskin, interestingly enough, for me, has been the standout player for Rangers, Ruffy. I think he's been absolutely superb.
Yeah, right from the very start, he's put that captain's armband on and done what a captain's supposed to do. He's got his players together. He's put Callum McGregor out the game so far for 45 minutes. He's been part of everything that Rangers have done, and that's what they'll be looking for.
So, second half, no changes that I can see. Bernardo's still out there, Tam.
Yeah, I think the Celtic need to obviously perform better. I think there's, you know, I spoke about scales, but I think there's 4 or 5 that could come off there at half time. They need to improve their performance levels and they need to try and waken up. I think Hatate's trying to do it himself there. Celtic are treating it as a training game, as a procession to the league title, and Rangers are treating it as a proper game to go and win, and that has been evident so far. Rangers have been far hungrier on the better side, and that's got to change in the second half if Celtic are going to get in and out of the game.
I'm not so sure I agree with you on that line, Tam. I think Rangers have come out and just basically, again, on many an occasion when these two go head to head, if you've got one side that's dominant, that's winning league titles, that's out in front, you know, sometimes a game can appear meaningless, but is there ever a Celtic Rangers game which is meaningless? Quite simply, Rangers have come out. I think they deserve credit for having a real goal. Interestingly enough, the Rangers players just coming out of the tunnel now. A wee bit of codology there, a wee bit of psychology.
No, I think Brendan's told them to get their finger out and get out there early, get themselves warmed up. But nah, listen, it's Rangers have got to keep up that level of performance. If they can keep that level of performance up and get the next goal, I think they'll go and win the game. But I think you'll see. I think you've got to see an improved Celtic team in the second half, because it's one of the worst 45 minutes I think I've seen from Celtic in a long time.
Okay, give us your thoughts on it throughout this watch along on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. The start of 2025, where there'll be lots more content for you to enjoy. Women's football, we'll have Straight Talk back with us. We'll have the journos. We'll also have the football show Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and our reporters out covering the press conferences and the weekend football as well. We'd love to hear from you. The start of the second half, it's underway at Ibrox, where quite simply Rangers have been the dominant team in the first 45 minutes and lead by a 1-0. That goal after 7 minutes from Ianis Hagi. They'll be looking to start the second half, Ruffy, exactly the way they started the first.
Well, it's just happened there just now. Celtic try to get control of the ball, and Rangers players on top of them right away and getting possession of the ball and a throw-in. You know, it just hasn't happened. But it's early part of the game. I think it's important for Rangers to get the second goal. Rangers, the longer the game goes at 1-0, Rangers quite rightly would try and sit out and see out the game, which might give Celtic a lot more possession of the ball.
If we're looking at that midfield area, Tam, there are gaps. There's undoubtedly gaps which Rangers have been able to exploit. Yeah,
and obviously a little chance here for Kyogo. Good ball through from Hatate, but good defending. He's been excellent in the back. He's been pretty steady. I think that's Sterling again. He's got great pace. You can see the ball through here. It's a good run. He's maybe
offside.
He's maybe just offside. But you can see the recovery pace here from Sterling to get back across and get, put his body in there. Good defending from Sterling.
Certainly prior to the game, all the talk was about the players that were not available for Rangers, but all the talk also, Ruffy, was the fact that it was a makeshift back line, a goalkeeper that hasn't really played for Rangers. It's been all about Jack Butland. He's out, Liam Kelly's in. It's a makeshift back line for Rangers, but they've performed well.
Yeah, they have. They've not been put under any pressure by any manner of means at all. Here's a chance here for Kyogo, but no support at all.
Yeah.
Good defending again.
Again,
yeah, it's very good defending, but Celtic just looked lackadaisical. I think they need players on the park that know what this game's all about.
I'll tell you one thing, when Sterling made that challenge, you could sense from the stands that they were well appreciative of his cover.
Yeah, it's good cover again. He's got great pace, Sterling. He's a good athlete, and gets across here. Kyogo, not been at it again. Not been at it. I think Ida will be certainly getting warmed up. I think a more physical presence could be what Celtic are looking for in that final third, to hold the ball up and get the team up the pitch.
Well, Celtic with a chance to threaten the Rangers' goal, but their passing has been poor in the first 45 minutes. Is it going to improve in the second? The answer to that is emphatically no, because that's a poor ball from Kuhn, who is sporting a cut right across the bridge of his nose.
Yeah, he certainly has. That's no excuse in this day and age. He just got on with it, but I think the Rangers defender that's marking him has done particularly well. He's not the kind of player I think is going to be oozing a confidence when things aren't going particularly well for him. He's seems to be one of these players, when everything's good, it's good, but it's not. He sort of hides a wee bit, and that'll be something that Brendan Rodgers will be looking at.
Yeah, Celtic just clearing the lines at the moment, leading by 1-0. Ianis, Hagi, if you are joining us, we're delighted that you have indeed decided to stick with us on the watch along and offer your opinion on this. Near and far, everybody wants to tune in to Rangers against Celtic, whether it's at Ibrox or indeed Celtic Park. There used to be a great build-up where everybody would get excited about getting tickets to go to the game from both sets of fans, but that's no longer the case. It's 100% Rangers fans, and on the evidence of what they've witnessed, we're heading into the 49th minute of this game. Rangers by far the happiest. Liam Scales, I think, certainly has been criticised by a number of fans, and that's basically for the pass that allowed Rangers to press Celtic, take possession and eventually get the goal after 7 minutes through Ianis Hagi. Blair.
I think Martin on the feed here agrees with you, Peter, that part of the reason why Celtic have been so poor in that first half is how good Rangers have been, and the pressure they've been putting on Celtic and the approach that they've had in this first 45 really has nullified anything that Celtic have to offer. A couple of shouts here for Brendan to change it. Early bells in this second half. Bring on Adam Ida and James Forrest onto the park.
Well, there's no chance of James coming onto the park because he's injured. But the other aspect of this, which I think is crucial right now, is Rangers trying to get the second goal shot from Hagi, which was saved easily enough by Kasper Schmeichel. Ruffy thought maybe he could have set himself a little better for the shot from Hagi in the first half, which brought about the first goal after 7 minutes. The only goal of this match, in fact, that's given Rangers the lead. Is there a second goal in it for the home side, or will Celtic come back in this match? For all the people who are calling on changes for Celtic, I think Brendan Rodgers has been in this movie many times before. He'll look, he'll wait, he'll give this starting 11 the chance to make amends. If he doesn't see it working, then that's usually when he starts to make those changes in this match. There's a chance for Hatate to try and open up again, and for Maeda to try and do something that I think the Japanese forward has been unable to do in that first half, which is quite simply get any change out of Ridvan Yilmaz in that right back role. Celtic trying to get the ball into the box, which is something they were completely and utterly unable to do in that first 45 minutes, but they've got a little bit of sustained pressure here, Tom.
Yeah, they have. I think they've started to just see that Callum McGregor gives the ball away for the 27th time. They have. They've come out better in the second half, but Rangers are sitting in a little bit. Probably try to protect the lead. They're not pressing, I don't think, as much as they were in the first half, which is giving Celtic more time on the ball. But again, without Celtic are keeping the ball without really doing much with it.
And the other good thing about it, and you can tell this is a watch along, is every now and then Ruffy just makes noises. He just and then that's that's what happens, Ruffy. Because you hate a bad pass, don't you?
No, but I would say there's been a lot of them, but in a Celtic camp, but not in the Rangers camp. They've been superb with their passing.
Yeah, and a chance, maybe Cherny just strayed offside there, which gives Celtic the chance once again to build. But can they get an opportunity that would allow them to get back on level terms? Rangers had the majority of play in that first half, but Celtic, you just feel, are starting to string a few passes together, Tom.
Yeah, they are. They're starting to put passes together in the final third. The Rangers still looking pretty solid. But Celtic's certainly knocking on the door.
Yep, and Celtic now looking to get an opportunity to get a shot away. They are trailing by 1-0. As ever with these games, you can have all the dominance, but if you do not convert that into goals, then it can change just in a heartbeat. One little moment, one little momentary lapse, and one little bit of magic can create an opportunity for the opposition. And then it could be all level, and it is. It's 1-1, and the hand goes up. And I think Kyogo has looked there and he thought to himself, he was in goal. He just put it over Liam Kelly, but the referee acknowledges the flag on the far side. Is this offside, Tom?
Yeah, I think he's just off. I think he's just went a split second too early.
What a great call that is, isn't it? What a great call by the linesman,
yeah,
Ruffy.
It's a wonderful finish.
Yeah, you can
Maybe a little bit of handball in there as well, but he knows exactly what he's doing.
It's a great finish, but I think he knows himself that he was just a wee bit off, and I'm sure the referee would be going, please don't go to VAR. Get your flag up and get this out the road. Look.
Brendan Rodgers, at least with a smile on his face, because Kyogo's having a look at Don Robertson. I think they'll just check it for the lines. He's waiting for the call from VAR, but I thought it was just offside, Tom.
Yeah, I thought he just went a little bit early, and you can just see a little bit of daylight there. But it's a warning shot for Rangers. They haven't started the game very well the second half. It's offside, but that will give Celtic confidence that they can go and get the equaliser. Yeah, he's offside. Don't think that's pretty clear in that, but wonderful finish from Kyogo, and Celtic just starting to pick the lock a little bit.
Yeah, second half, slight change. It was always going to be asking a lot of Rangers to sustain that high press, that high work rate, and of course the ability to make sure that Celtic don't create chances. Celtic slowly but surely in the last couple of minutes have just started to string a few passes, Ruffy.
Yeah, that's something they've not been doing in the first half. There were no area or space to play into, but there seems to be a gap somewhere that McGregor's now finding to get into and feeding the ball to the people who are going into dangerous areas and maybe score a goal.
Well, I think Greg Taylor's just having a word there and saying he saw something between Hatate and Diamandi, but every now and then you're going to get those little off-the-ball incidents, Tam. It's one of those games where there's no quarter given.
No, I think we'll just see it here. I think it's just a throw-in, and again, I don't think there's a lot in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe just catches him in the face slightly, but there's nothing in that at all.
I'm not having any of that, Ruffy, because the only way you're going down in an Old Firm fixture is if you've been absolutely given one right to the chin.
Yeah,
get on with it.
And yeah, you're right. But it's amazing, modern day player. You saw it the other day. Reacted to getting hit. Whereas
I don't think Kuhn was acting in any capacity. We think it was a yellow card. I think Don Robertson got it right. I would absolutely 100% suggest to you that by the time you get to the end of the match, there will be so many fans suggesting that Jeffy should have been sent off.
No, it's just it's just a failing arm. It catches him. I thought the kick was more a yellow card than the hand.
Yeah, and every now and then, Ruffy will remember a joke from his after-dinner circuit and just start laughing as well, which is rare these days for the crowd. But nevertheless, Ruffy, you are laughing because quite simply the passing is terrible.
Oh, as we always talk about the quality of our game. I'm sure if we were watching a game down in England, you wouldn't see passing like that.
Yeah, you would.
No, it depends what games you're watching.
Yeah. I mean, Czerney's got a great opportunity here. He's got a brilliant left foot on him. And again, nice little pass and an opportunity for Rangers to threaten. And punched away by Kasper Schmeichel. A little bit over dramatic. I thought that was just for the cameras there, Ruffy, to be honest with you.
I'd like to see that one again. I mean, I know he's trying to stop it from getting into the box, but it did look a bit dramatic.
Yeah, a little bit of sustained pressure there from Rangers on this, but again, Celtic battling away, trying to get the break on it, and the referee quickly getting involved, and he felt as if there was a foul there on Diamandi in the middle of the park.
I thought he was fortunate there. Didn't see much in that. He just dwelt on the ball a little bit. This is the one from Schmeichel.
It's a deflection.
Yeah, it's a deflection which did not merit a punch away like that, Ruffy.
Yeah, no,
and that really is indicative.
It's very difficult to get the mitts.
Yeah.
Middle fingers.
Absolutely. Ruffy, you didn't wear gloves in the early days, did you?
Early days, no.
That's how his fingers. Look at his fingers
10
now.
years without gloves.
Yeah, do you think that affected... I mean, you could get that fixed, your tendons. You just don't want to get an operation.
No, I don't. I'm a coward. I don't want to go in at all.
If you got that operation...
Roy Munson there, the old bowling ball. He was good with his fingers, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And for the benefit of anyone who has... Is that the Big Lebowski?
Oh, Kingpin.
Kingpin. Even worse. But Ruffy, at this moment, looking on and reacting to some of the passing that's going on, I think from a Rangers perspective, the Rangers fans will be looking and saying, OK, Celtic have come out in the second half, but if they could maybe silence them and get another opportunity in this match. Celtic just struggling to clear their lines at the moment, but eventually they're able to do that. Can they get a counter-attack? And the answer is no. Rangers now, with just the last couple of minutes, have been threatening that Celtic goal, and a real chance for them to threaten again, but they'll be happy to take the corner. And after the first 15 minutes, Tam, slowly but surely, you know, you're looking, and Rangers have got a chance to come back in again and try and build on that advantage. They're leading by a goal to nil.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the message would have been for Rangers, you know, first 10, 15 minutes, Celtic going to get a rocket from their coaching staff, make sure we don't give anything away. They've done that. They've kind of weathered a little bit of a storm. They've got away with the offside goal, which was obviously offside anyway. But yeah, I think if Rangers can just go and continue what they were doing in the first half, you know, Celtic are still not firing on all cylinders.
And you're getting to that hour mark where Brendan Rodgers will undoubtedly contemplate some kind of change. It's something that he does. It's something that lots of managers do on a regular basis, Ruffy, on the hour. They give the starting 11 the chance to produce something. If they can't, then managers earn their con by making changes. But that's a good shot coming in there and easily saved by Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, but he's not frightened of doing 3 or 4 at the same time, you know, at the 60 minutes or 62 or whatever. But, you know, but I'd love to know what they have, the wee notepads at the side, what they're writing on them, you know, but I'm sure...
Well, it's spread betting. Listen, they're looking and they're saying it doesn't look as if Scales is going to make another pass, so I'll bet against them. Joking, of course. But nevertheless, Rangers with a chance. Czerney chance to make it 2. And he's hit the post. Would you believe it? That could have finished Celtic off, Ruffy.
Yeah, it certainly could have. I mean, I think everybody knew what he was trying to do, get on his left foot.
Comes from Scales again,
comes from Scales, I know. I think
he's got to get hooked. He's been horrendous.
Looking for a foul there, but
he's on.
No, that should have finished it. Most definitely. Both the fullbacks lost again. Oh.
Beautiful. Just opened his body up there, Tam. Curled it beyond Schmeichel.
Yeah, I think he's got to score. Peter. I think that in that situation, you know, it's 2-0. I think that's game over. I don't see Celtic coming back from 2-0.
Yeah.
And that's a massive miss. But again, Scales getting caught coming out of possession.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, it's Celtic who are looking to try and get away on the counter-attack, but Rangers with a great opportunity there. Czerney was onside, just going in, and the goalkeeper, he just opened his body up and with his left foot just curled it, and it came off the inside of the post, back along the line, and the chance was gone, and it's still 1-0 to Rangers, Blair.
Yep, Liam Scales taking a little bit of heat in the comments today. Brendan, please take Liam Scales off. He's an accident waiting to happen all day, one of the comments on the feed here. If we look at the betting, money certainly flying in for Rangers now on the hour mark. Rangers are now 1-2 to win this game. Celtic are out as far as 6-1 in places to win this game this afternoon. On our poll on the YouTube feed, Rangers 34% to come out winners this afternoon. Celtic at 52%, 14% the draw.
It's quite unusual for Liam Scales' family and friends to be messaging us to get Scales off, but nevertheless, that's a booking. That's a booking. Jefty taken out of it by Kuhn, and I don't think we had to look quickly towards Don Robertson. The yellow card was out immediately, Ruffy.
Yeah, it certainly was. You could see the frustrations setting in with Kuhn. I think he could be one of the ones that's going to get replaced.
He's been poor, really, really poor.
Would you take Kuhn off?
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. Kuhn, Scales, Bernardo.
Yeah, what would you just take all of them off and
Wait,
not put anybody on?
another minute.
Yeah.
The three of them will be off at 62.
Scales, Kuhn.
And Bernardo.
Okay, interesting. Well.
Oh, 62.
Oh, there you are. Hold on, Robbie.
Hold on, it's 62.
62.
This is technically the 62nd.
By the way, you've got to hand it to him. This is the substitution. He told you.
You can't teach that. You can't teach
Honestly,
that.
that is magnificent.
I've got the player.
I hope the ball doesn't go out for 2 minutes.
Tam, will you resign? Because clearly this punditry is absolutely sensational from Ruffy. Absolutely magnificent, Ruffy. Exactly as you called it. 62nd minute, not the 60th minute. Yeah. The 62nd minute is when Ruffy said those changes would be made.
And it's McCowan that's coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, there's no doubt changes had to be made, Ruffy.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, in a Rangers Celtic game, you've got to be really, really up for it. And there's certain players in the Celtic team just haven't been up for it right for the start.
Can I mention to you, you've been really, really positive about all that Rangers have done in this match, Tam. If you're Philip Clement, do you change anything?
No, I don't think your team's playing well. I think 9 or 10 of your players are playing really well. No, there's no chance of him making any changes. I think Celtic have got a stronger bench to kind of change things anyway. But yeah, if you're Philip Clement, you're just see him again. Last half an hour, keep the intensity up. Keep it tight at the back, and you, at the very least, you win it 1-0.
Yeah, and I think at this moment, Egeman picks up a free kick for Rangers on that left flank, an opportunity to throw that ball in once more. The last time the ball came in at pace, took a slight deflection, and Kasper Schmeichel punched it away from the danger area. But Czerny looking over it, Hagi there as well. A second goal surely puts it in Rangers' favour. But Celtic are able to defend that. And it's Hatate who's looking to try and find one of his teammates to break out in this match. 1-0 to Rangers. Ianis Hagi scored after 7 minutes. Lovely left foot shot after a little layup from Nico Raskin, who's been the player of the first half, certainly. Rangers now trying to move forward to get a shooting opportunity in the second half. Johnston, I think, at that moment pulled out of the tackle because he'd already conceded a free kick with a challenge on Egeman only moments ago. Maybe now Celtic have that chance.
Unfortunate for Ruffy to get that.
Well, I'm going to give it to him because the three of them were ready in the 62nd minute. So let's see if he calls it right. Kyogo, Bernardo, and also Taylor, Ruffy, coming off, and Ida, Vaya, and McCowan going on.
Yeah, I think Taylor's had a good game. He's not handled the Rangers winger at all. Most of their positiveness has come from that wide area, which it hasn't at Celtic's wide areas at all. So, no, I think you're right. Not Kyogo's fault, that he's not getting any supply at all, has he?
Taylor doesn't look happy. Tam getting taken off.
I thought he had a poor game, Peter. I think, listen,
he's out of contract now. He can sign for, he's got the 6 months left. He can sign for anybody. And the general feeling is that, Greg Taylor could be looking to a new club.
Yeah, I think Dinamo Zagreb are linked in the press over the last couple of days. Champions League team, obviously a different culture in Croatia. It'd be a decent move for him, but I think he's had a poor game of the day. But I'm not, I don't think there's any. But Carter Vickers, I think, has played well for Celtic. Bar that, I honestly couldn't tell you Celtic played well.
Yeah, Nico Raskin was certainly someone that I highlighted in the first half. Czerny is another man who causes all sorts of problems, and again, just bringing most of the Rangers fans to their feet with that shot there, which was saved by Schmeichel.
But again, it was a halfway line, loss of possession of the ball, just because Rangers were more energy to get the ball back, and again, cutting inside, good save, did particularly well there.
Yep, Czerny with a shot, Czerny with the corner, Rangers with the 1-goal advantage, 65 minutes gone. It's the Old Firm derby, January the 2nd, Ibrox Park, the home side at this moment, pleasing the home supporters, looking for a second goal, crying out for it. What a chance, there it is there, 2-0 Rangers into the back of the net, and the man who's got the ball in there is Proper, and he's certainly one man that you would have been putting money on to score the goal, but he's got it, and it's Rangers 2, Celtic 0, and that could be that, Ruffy.
Yeah, fantastic delivery into the box again. Celtic not defending it properly, and this time Rangers did get a wee break of the ball and deserved it thoroughly. I mean, Celtic have just done 2 minutes the start of this game, and Rangers have again dominated most of it.
Yeah, I think that's Nico Raskin that gets the first header, one of the smallest players on the park. I think that's been, endemic to Celtic's performance. Get the wee break of the ball when it goes in, but there's nothing more than Rangers deserve. I think 2-0 is an accurate reflection of the game. Could be 3 actually, or 4. Takes it well, puts it in the back of the net, and as I said, long way back for Celtic now. Rangers thoroughly deserve to be 2-0 up.
It's a big result for Rangers if they can hold on to this, Robbie, because quite simply, Philip Clement has faced a fair bit of criticism.
Yeah, he's got every right if they do win the game to come in and say, look, I told you so. If you stick by me and I get my players back that I want, there isn't much between the two sides. Everybody maybe, not everybody, but the majority of people start believing, well, maybe this guy we need to hang on to him.
Yeah. Would you have said 2-0 at the start of the game, Robbie?
Never. No. Not on the evidence of what we've been seeing, but again, right for the very start of this game, the stats will prove that Rangers have been far, far superior side.
Yeah, they've played better football. They've certainly worked hard, and I think that work rate deserves great credit, Tom.
Yeah, I think they've thoroughly dominated the game from start to finish, up to now. So they definitely deserve to be 2-0 up. I think they've showed energy, they've showed quality, and Celtic have been miles off it. And Nico Raskin again coming back and helping his defenders. He had a wonderful game. The captain's armband seems to have inspired him to go into probably one of his best performances for Rangers.
And again, Celtic just trying to press, but no way through. The second goal there from Rangers, from the corner, Czerny, a bullet header cleared off the line by Celtic, but only into the path of Proper, who put the ball into the back of the net. And it's Rangers with that 2-goal advantage, Blair.
A couple of people on the feed on Facebook just making the point about how there is possibly 2 Rangers teams this year, a team that turns up for these big occasions and seems to make these performances out of nowhere, and then the team that can struggle against the likes of St Mirren and Motherwell respectively. Just looking at the odds for this game now, Rangers 1-33 to secure all 3 points, and if you're a very optimistic Celtic fan, you can get them at 40-1 now for Celtic to come back and win this game. Just briefly take you around the grounds. Kilmarnock have doubled the lead against St Mirren. Bruce Anderson has his second of the day from the penalty spot, and Ross County are now 2-1 up on Aberdeen. Aberdeen looking to avoid 9 games without a win.
Yeah, obviously I'm hanging off on my Twitter feed, Tom, for a wee while yet, but the collapse of Aberdeen has been unbelievable.
It's been incredible. I remember on this show saying that they'd just give them 3rd place just now, and that's going to do the rounds, that video, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Because they went into free fall. I mean, they could. United, I think, obviously the other night was a big result for them, and to lose at home to Ross County is a shocker. They need to go and improve in the January window. But a lot of people spoke about Celtic going unbeaten. Ruffy was, to be fair to Ruffy, saying they'll come unstuck in one of the games. I think the guys that have bet Celtic to be unbeaten will be probably ripping their slip up at this moment, because I don't see any way back for Celtic now.
Yeah. Ruffy, have you got a tenner there? It's 1-33. what a great odd that is. And again, that could have been 3. What a shot. Left-footed, saved by Kasper Schmeichel. And that was Ruud van Yilmaz, who again has found himself able to get forward on countless occasions, Ruffy.
Yeah, very, very good going forward. There's no doubt about that. And Celtic have been able to get him going back the way, because they've not been playing well at all. But again, that was a good shot, good save.
And again, it's a corner, a similar position again, where Czerny created the second goal for Rangers. This time it's Cameron Carter-Vickers trying to put the shackles on Proper, but he's unable to get there. It's going to be a goal kick.
For a penalty here.
Yep, and do you think it was a penalty, Tom?
We'll need to see it again. I think it was quite low down. You'll see it here.
Okay, Tom?
No,
you're not having a penalty for that, are you?
His hands tucked into his body there. It's in a natural position. I don't think that's a penalty, no.
Okay, there you are. Final word on it, Ruffy. You going to disagree?
No, not at all. I think his hand was in his body, not in an unnatural position.
Adam Ida, quite happy to get ready to defend at the corner once more, and Václav Czerny, who I think also deserves credit for his contribution in this game, as well as Rangers, just looking to build once more. And I'll tell you one thing, Ruud van Yilmaz loves a shot, doesn't he?
He's Another Rangers performance has been very, very good. There's been all the best performances have been in a blue jersey today, there's no doubt about that. And as I said, they've got 20 minutes to see the game out, and get a well-deserved win.
And every challenge now is being greeted with huge roars from the Rangers support, and rightly so, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean, they've been really at it. They've been at every tackle. They've been, I mean, there was a wee phase there where the ball went out wide. I think it was Maeda, and within about half a yard there was a Rangers player dispossessing him with the ball, and that's been happening for the whole game.
Yep, it's still 2-0 to Rangers, and the general consensus here is quite simply that Rangers are well worthy of that advantage. They have battled away in this match, and quite a number of people have been offering their comment. It's a watch along on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and Facebook and X as well. We'd love to hear your comments, and we will be bringing you our overall reaction at the end of the 90 minutes, but with just less than 20 minutes of this match left. All the plaudits to the men in blue. Rangers looking for a third goal, which would take the roof off this stadium, because quite simply Raskin again is the man. In fact, Yilmaz, that's his third shot in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I mean, you look at Rangers, the midfield players, even the full-backs, they're all having shots at goal. There's not been one Celtic midfield player being in a position to have a shot from 18, 20 yards, and that just shows you how much Rangers have been in top.
Well, 2-0 up at the moment. A goal in the first half from Ianis Hagi, a goal in the second half from Robin Proper, and they are in command, Rangers. And Celtic just at this moment struggling to create anything. In that final third, it's just a wall of blue, and they can't break it down, Tam.
Yeah, they have, and we spoke about the back four and the goalkeeper hadn't played together. I think they've been playing together for 5 years with the performance today. I know Celtic have been poor in the final third, but Rangers have looked really, really solid. Proper and Sterling, very, very solid, not giving anything away, and Celtic look as if devoid of any kind of ideas at the moment.
And Celtic at this moment trying to create something of note, but Rangers are the team defending well. And this performance from Rangers, I think a number of people may well have looked at the cup final and said, yep, you can play well, but if you lose the game, it matters not a jot. This time around, they've been able to score one in the first half, get another in the second half, and prove to people that they've got something to offer.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that have taken it on for they're taken it on for the cup final. I don't think there was much between the two teams in the cup final. But they proved today that, and again, I go back to Clermont, in a one-off game, there isn't a massive gap, which has been proved today. But it's a consistency for Rangers throughout the season, and they need to change that if they're going to obviously do anything better in the game.
Raskin, Yilmaz, Cherny, for me, have been outstanding, Tam.
Yeah, they have. I say that all the best performances have been in a blue and white jersey, and that's been, the key to winning the game. I think Celtic are going to make another change here, but I just think it's too little, too late. I think Celtic were quite happy to get away with 2-0 here, because Rangers scored again, 3-0. It's been an absolute tank in the second half, to be honest. I think you looked at the stats there. I think Celtic have been up the park, bar the offside goal. Rangers have been really dominant with shots and corners and creating opportunities.
Yeah, Celtic are about to make another substitution. I think they're hoping to bring on Dalglish, Larsson and McGrain, Ruffy, but even at 73, I think Kenny could do a job.
Certainly in today's performance, there's no doubt about that.
And again, Rangers fans, rightly so, just giving him huge applause, because there is Ridvan Yilmaz making sure that Maeda doesn't get that shot on goal.
Yeah, good defending again. He's in it. Superb game. Not playing in an unfamiliar position, right back. Who's coming off? Tatati. Yeah, he again another one that's been poor for Celtic today. There's not been many. I'd say Carter Vickers for me probably the only one I would say has got past marks. And if you're playing any game with one player, getting past marks, and you're not going to win any game.
And the other great thing, Ruffy, and you know this from a point of view of most of your teammates that you played with as well, nothing worse than your manager saying, we're 2-0 down, on you go for the last 15 and give us your best. And that's Arne Engels.
Yeah, but he's been doing it on certain occasions, and Celtic have been scoring late goals, but on the evidence of the performance today, you're wondering where that's going to come from.
Yeah.
But 15, 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Can't see it, but I'm sure that's why the substitutions have been made.
Yeah, well, on the performance today, I think Celtic's hopes of getting any late goal is if the referee adds on 35 minutes. Right now, Rangers are going to get all the plaudits, and rightly so, from this game because they've been at it. And that's what you need. You need desire, you need commitment, you need the press, you need the creativity. They provided all of that today. They're 2-0 up.
Yes, I mean, you can't take anything away from Rangers. Man for man, they've been outstanding, better than anything that Celtic have got, and they're looking for the third goal.
And as per the terms of his contract, even if I'm looking at Blair, Ruffy jumps in. Lovely noise.
Look at that.
Blair, what's happening?
Just take it round the grounds again quickly. Hibs have equalised against St Johnstone. Dwight Gale,
One of the finest managers of all time.
fresh from that Derby goal. He's got one today, and they're on level terms against 10-man St Johnstone. Just picking up on those stats that you were talking about there, Tam. In terms of total shots this afternoon, Rangers have 23 over the course of the afternoon to Celtic's 3. 8 shots on target for Rangers to Celtic's 1. That one shot on target was that only shot at the end of the half that Liam Kelly saved. A few people saying that questions need to be asked of Celtic after today's performance and just how poor they've been. But again, there's a lot of compliments to Rangers and a bit of surprise as to where this performance may have been after the recent weeks.
I'm not too sure questions need to be asked, Ruffy, because at the end of the day, they've been well beaten in the match. You just have to take your medicine.
Yeah, and unfortunately I'm not fortunately, but there's no Celtic fans in that crowd, so I really do hope if Rangers do continue to win this game quite easy, the best thing to do is when the final whistle goes is just go up the tunnel.
I'll tell you one thing, there's a real chance now. What a poor ball that was, and Rangers could have had another shooting opportunity. Eagleman with a dreadful pass. It was crying out for a pass there to his teammate. I think it might have been Raskin who was in goal there.
Yeah, again, it's skills. Like a man just bullies him off the ball, turns him, and you're right. A better pass there. It's a 1v1 situation, and it's a poor ball. But Celtic have got to take risks now to try and get the next goal, and that's going to leave gaps for Rangers to go and exploit and get that third goal.
Right now, Celtic trying to get something on the flank. Maeda, who's been posted missing, just runs into traffic, and that's been the story of this game. Anytime Celtic have tried to get into a space and try and take full advantage, it's Rangers who've been able just to close them down and break up any move. And Celtic have paid the penalty with Liam Scales, the culprit, in the first half, because quite simply his poor pass allowed Rangers to press the ball, get possession, play it into Raskin. Raskin with a deft little touch into the path of Ianis Hagi and his left foot shot. First time shot as well. Low past Kasper Schmeichel in the Celtic goal. That was after 7 minutes. Second half, Rangers again with a corner. This time it was Raskin who got a free header. One of the smallest men in the pitch. A bullet header cleared off the line into the path of Proper, and he finished with about maybe 3 or 4 yards away from goal into the corner of the net. And Rangers and the fans, 100% Rangers supporters inside, no away fans, they were absolutely delighted. 2-0 up in this match against the league leaders Celtic and probably eventual champions. But there's a little moment when you have to enjoy an Old Firm derby win, and boy will Philippe Clement enjoy that. I have to say, Ruffy, if it ends 2-0 to Rangers here.
Yeah, he's got his tactics right from the very, very start. He stopped the big players at Celtic playing this game. They've been in about them all day, and their fitness levels in this game have been absolutely fantastic, Rangers, whereas Celtic just seem to be going through the emotions.
Barami about to come off and Danilo coming on, and again, every Rangers player, I think, will get pass marks today, Tam.
Yeah, I think they've been outstanding. Definitely the best performance I've seen from Rangers in a long time in this fixture. I think they've been totally dominant. We spoke about Celtic dominating Old Firm games and winning 4 and 5. This could have been 4 or 5 today. It really could have. Rangers have been completely dominant. Celtic, I feel, I've kind of turned up with a little bit of complacency, and they've been royally turned over. Now it's 2-0 on the scoreboard, but it could be 4 or 5.
Yeah, 2 goals on the day. Dundee Derby will be up also coming up shortly, and we will give you all the latest news from that across our social media. But in the derby and the watch along at the start of 2025, we've been involved in so many different areas of content, Ruffy, over the course of the year. We've been in Germany with Scotland at the European Championships. We've also covered one-to-ones with special players, past and present, and we brought you the Women's Football Show and, of course, the journos, and it's been well received. The figures have been absolutely superb.
Yeah, it's great variety. I mean, you made a decision, to do the 5 days of the football, and I think
you were pissed off with that, weren't you, Ruffy?
not particularly.
Cost them money.
I think the decisions you made have given
Go on, dig yourself out,
a
Ruffy.
variety.
Oh, goal, 3-0. Rangers,
Just down the
Danilo,
park.
he's just on. 3-0. 10 minutes to go, and Rangers with all 3 points. And again, Celtic caught out at the back, all over the place, and Rangers make it 3, and that is game over. Rangers 3, Celtic 0.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. That the players that would been Rangers players that have been promised to come up with the goods have really come up with the goods today. Every one of them, to a man, has been absolutely outstanding.
That goal there, again, Celtic trying to come out, but Rangers pressing, taking full advantage of it, going down the flank. And at this point, I thought there might have been an award for a penalty, but it came off his knee. And there's Danilo from about 8 yards out, driving in. It was Jeffy with a great move, playing the ball across into the path of Danilo, and he left foots it through the legs of Kasper Schmeichel, and Ibrox goes crazy. 3-0 up, Tam. What do you make of that goal?
Yeah, I think it's just only what the Rangers deserve. I think Jeffy's been outstanding. Kept cool and quiet, got forward. Both full-backs for Rangers have been outstanding. When they get a little break there, I think you're probably right. Could have been a penalty and brought back if it wasn't a goal. And Danilo, dream start for him, just on the park, tucks it away. 3-0, definitely an accurate reflection of the game. It's been a shocking performance from Celtic, but Rangers have been completely dominant. A terrific performance from them.
Well, the look on Callum McGregor's face, they have been well and truly given, as they say in Glasgow, Ruffy, they've been given an absolute doing today.
Yeah, they certainly have, and all credit. That's just a perfect example of what's been happening to Celtic in the first minute. Is the passing's been poor. Callum McGregor.
The darts yesterday. The darts are cut loose.
Callum McGregor, non-existent, usually dominating games, and that shows you how well Rangers have done their homework on Celtic for this one.
Yeah, and the Rangers fans, at times, you have to highlight this, Ruffy, is quite simply the Rangers fans at times have watched their side, 2 or 3 results, and they're thinking, they're actually getting it together, and then they would come unstuck against, for example, a Motherwell. But today, every one of them has been a success on the park.
Yeah, they have. 50,000 people behind them. I think that helps a wee bit as well, particularly when you get the first goal. Everybody's right behind you. You're on the front foot. And I know we keep saying Celtic have been poor, but all the credit goes to Rangers. They've been absolutely fantastic.
There is not one person that I know of, and I've spoken to more than a few Rangers fans, who were actually fearful of what was about to unfold at Ibrox. But there's not one that would have suggested that Rangers would have an emphatic win at the end of 90 minutes, and we are only about maybe 6 minutes away from that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody kind of seen this scoreline coming. The 14-point gap at the top. I know you can, say Celtic will still win the league. That's fine, but I think a lot of Celtic supporters will be really disappointed with this performance, and a lot of Rangers fans will be delighted with the performance. They'll see something. They can see that they can go and compete with Celtic. They've done it in the League Cup final. They've done it in the Scottish Cup final last season. Not been much in it. As Ruffy spoke about earlier, it's the consistency against other teams that Rangers need to sort out. Celtic beat the rest comfortably, and Rangers are unable to do that. But I think that Rangers today have been superb. One of the best performances I've seen from them under Philip Clement. And 3-0 probably flatters Celtic. It could have been much worse.
Yeah, just on that point as well, Ruffy, as you look and you consider Celtic and the performances, 8 goals in the last 2 games, scored 4 against St Johnstone, 4 against Motherwell, and ended up with that.
They've only conceded 4 goals the whole season up until then, so you've got, it's nearly double in one game.
And the other thing I was going to say, Ruffy, on that basis is in the last 3 or 4 games, some people have been suggesting Celtic have just dropped off the high standard that they created at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think most of the supporters have been at these games that you're talking about, are the ones that we saw. The level has dropped a wee bit. I don't know where you give that credit to the other sides that read the situation more when they come and play them. But for me today, that maybe that is the case. They're just taking it for granted they're going to win 14 points and just stroll away with it. But this will be a lesson to be learned. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will come out after the game and say, right, we have to take it and move on.
Well, every pass being cheered is every Rangers player battling for everything. They win the free kick. They're 3-0 up. Danilo added the third there. And I have to say, today, when you look at it, the stats that Blair highlighted earlier, most shots on target, again, most shots throughout the whole game. But the other aspect of this that I think, you always look for something that comes out of a game like this, Tam. And I wonder if Rangers will look and say to themselves, well, listen, not only was it a great performance, can we build on it and maybe get a chance to land the last domestic trophy, because the general feeling is that Celtic will win the league?
Well, I think that the Rangers supporters will be encouraged for the Scottish Cup campaign. They'll not be frightened of playing Celtic in a one-off game. They've showed, as I said, the last 2 finals. There's been nothing in it. Celtic have won both, but not without playing well. And this will be a big confidence booster for the whole squad, for the support. Celtic fans will point to, still 11 points clear, I get that, and we'll still win the league. But I think if you're a Celtic fan, you're looking at this display day, you're bitterly disappointed. This is probably one of the worst performances I've seen from Celtic in a long time. But at the same time, you've got to give Rangers credit. They've absolutely dominated the game. They've battered Celtic. And there's been a long time since you've been able to say that.
Yeah, can I ask you this, Ruffy? If there are criticisms that are coming towards Celtic and the manager, Brendan Rodgers, and the players who have produced this display, is there and by the way, there's something happened. There's a Celtic player gone down. I think it's Alistair Johnson, and something has been thrown from the far side, and that is something we definitely didn't want to see, and he's holding his head at this moment. And I have to say, that is the one element of football that rears its ugly head. And certainly when you look back at what Jim Goodwin had to face from Aberdeen fans the other day there in the northeast, this is something, I think it's something that's rearing its ugly head, and Arne Engels is just holding his head. He's been hit by an object, and I think a number of Rangers players remonstrating with the support as if to say, what are you doing? And Engels looks as if he's okay, and thank God for that, because missiles can take your eye out, Ruffy.
Most certainly can, and I think it's the people who do it are obviously irresponsible, and that's why we keep harping on about, please CCTV catch these people, make examples of them, because it's not something we want to be talking about after the game.
It looks as if it's a coin.
Yeah, we want to be talking about the football. We don't want to be talking about that kind of thing.
And with CCTV, Ruffy, you're hoping that fan is apprehended and never allowed to come into a football ground again.
Yeah, that's the
that must have happened just above the eyebrow there.
Yeah, you can see. I think you can see a mark there, and the police are taking it away. It is a point of evidence that, again, I don't want to dwell on it, because these people are morons who think it's okay to throw an object that could injure a player in a match, and I think there may well be repercussions there for that individual if they've caught him on CCTV. I certainly hope so, but over and above that, it will not detract from a magnificent Rangers performance on the field of play, which is what we like to talk about, the football on the field of play. Rangers have been absolutely superb. 89 minutes, 60 seconds left, plus any additional time. And I think there's going to be a change here. Cyril Dessers will come on, and Connor Barron, I think, was potentially going to be used. But in fact, both of them, they've just been told, don't bother, you're still getting your bonus.
I'd be fuming.
Would you? Yeah. You want to get on
3-0 up, you're getting a win bonus, you're getting appearance money. Run about for 3 minutes.
Ruffy.
Job's a good.
Hagi with the first goal, Proper with the second, and then Danilo with the third. Sum up that performance.
It's just like we've been saying, they're absolutely dominant. I've never seen Celtic being, they get that doing over in Germany, but certainly in domestic football, they've been second to every ball for the first minute of the game. And all credit to Rangers, who have set about the stall. They wanted to win this more than Celtic, and that's Celtic's best 11 that's on the park. So you can't talk about team selection. It is the best 11. So the players themselves have to have a serious look at themselves. I don't think you could blame the manager for the selection, but the actual performance has been diabolical.
Blair?
Yep, a few comments coming in on the YouTube feed. Martin here, a Celtic fan. Even before the third goal, there was no urgency from Celtic. Poor day, lucky it's only 3. Harry on Facebook, Rangers by far the better team and totally deserve the win. But when the dust settles, it's still 11 points behind. Well-deserved win, says James on Facebook. Louise, brilliant from Rangers this afternoon. I found a very interesting stat for this afternoon, that this is only the second time that Celtic have lost their opening game in a calendar year for the last 27 years. The last time against Rangers in 2021.
Well, you can put all the stats that you want from this one. Robbie Fraser's coming on. What a day for that young man coming on for Jeffy. And he'll get the last 4 minutes. Jeffy receiving applause as well. Every Rangers player's been absolutely superb. As a team, the effort that they put in has been absolutely superb. I think there's been 2 or 3 outstanding performances. Raskin is the captain. Yilmaz, for me, has been absolutely superb as well. And at the end of the 90 minutes, although there will be a few moans and groans from Celtic supporters on certain incidents, I don't think they've got anything to complain about. Rangers, the better team on the day. They'll win this game and they'll receive all the plaudits for a performance which is worthy of all 3 points. It certainly doesn't change the overall complexion of the league, because Celtic will still have a massive advantage of 11 points. It begs the question, where has this Rangers team been for the first half of the campaign with this performance against the league leaders? If they'd been able to show that, it might have been a different game completely, a different title race than it is at the moment. But does it give Rangers fans great heart and this side great confidence for potentially the Scottish Cup campaign? But Celtic at the moment just trying to get themselves out of a real muddle at the back, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that right from the very, very start. And again, it's because Rangers are closing them down. The energy levels of the Rangers players from start to finish. I mean, just a minute ago there, they were all chasing and harrying and nowhere for Celtic to go. There's about 9 of them in the box there, and they're all getting behind the ball and making it difficult for Celtic. And there's another one just going to pan out.
Yep. Scales just playing that ball into an area which is of no real danger for Rangers. And the game is just at this moment going into that final 60 seconds. Tam, your overall assessment?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that the best team's won. I think that Rangers have been magnificent from start to finish. I think 3-0 flatters Celtic. I think it's been an absolute tanking, to be honest. Celtic, okay, they're going to get criticised. I think they've been really, really poor, but you've got to give credit to Rangers. They've pressed them, they've harried them. They've looked a hungrier team. They've shown quality in the final third. And you're right, a lot of people say, where has this Rangers team been? But with that back four and that goalkeeper to put in that level of performance has been outstanding, and all the credit must go to Rangers today.
And finally, Cortez, Barron and Dessers do get their bonus, Tam.
That's it, that's what you're wanting. Look, a minute to go, you come on, get your win bonus, get your appearance money. 3-0 win over your biggest rivals. Magic.
Can I just mention to you, Ruffy, that I've spoken to a number of finance directors who said that they look at a game differently and they think, why are you bringing them on? That eats into the profit. Eats into the profits.
Thinking,
That's exactly what you're thinking of. And he deserves a standing ovation. Raskin's been magnificent.
That's why he's making the substitutions to these 3 particular guys who have been absolutely outstanding, and that's what you want to do. You want them to get full credit. And even the guys that are coming on for a minute will enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, which is a minute.
Yeah.
Well done, Ruffy. So the situation is, again, and look at Nico Raskin, how he must feel, Tam, captaining this side as well.
Yeah, he looked as if he was a player maybe on his way out of Rangers at one point. I think under his fellow countrymen coming in. I think he's got himself back. I think he spoke about his diet and losing a wee bit of weight and being more mobile and being fitter. And I think that's shown today. The captain's armband, you know, he seemed to have grown another lung in there. You know, he's been outstanding. He's covered every blade of grass. And probably, I think he'll get man of the match. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 Rangers players you could give man of the match to, but I think probably overall, maybe Raskin would be your man of the match. I thought he's been probably his best performance in the Rangers jersey.
Celtic just looking to Don Robertson blow the whistle, end the agony, and the Celtic players will have to hear a huge roar from the Rangers supporters who'll be absolutely delighted with what they've produced today. Give us your thoughts on it. Rangers are going to win this match. They're going to get all 3 points. The referee is just about to blow the whistle and then the celebrations can begin for a victory in this game for Rangers. And I think at this moment, just at Liam Kelly putting his fists out there to celebrate this win for Rangers. It's been emphatic, it's been deserved. There's been so many great performances from the Rangers players in this game, and Philippe Clement has consistently mentioned that there is indeed good performances and a good team in there, but some people have waited and waited too long in many Rangers supporters' eyes for this performance on a regular basis. No point in doing it against Celtic and then are unable to do it regularly against the likes of Motherwell. Full time at Ibrox. It's Rangers 3, Celtic 0, and what a win for Philippe Clement's side.
Yeah, what a performance. Absolutely brilliant. You know, an enjoyable game to watch. A lot of quality was lacking in some bits, but you can't take any away for Rangers. They thoroughly deserved to win this game. I'm glad they've won it because of the football that they played and not looking at VAR or anything like that. They're thoroughly outclassed a very good Celtic team.
In the first half, it was a lovely layoff from Raskin, a left foot shot low past Schmeichel after 7 minutes from Ianis Hagi to give them the lead. Second half, after that 1-goal advantage at the break, Celtic really only had one chance, a shot from Hatate saved by Liam Kelly. But in the second half, it was Rangers dominance again. 66 minutes, corner from Czerny, bullet header from Raskin, cleared off the line, and there was Proper to put the ball into the back of the net, 2-0. And then 9 minutes from the end, again, a ball flashed into the Celtic box and it broke out to Danilo, who'd just come onto the park, and his left foot shot through the legs of Kasper Schmeichel. And what a performance from Rangers, and what a performance from their captain for the day, Nico Raskin. It's a day, it's a game to enjoy. It's a day to remember at the start of 2025 for Rangers. They can celebrate this in front of the supporters. And it's the first time in a long while where the Rangers players will be able to go over to the supporters and actually stand in front of them and receive the applause, because some Rangers fans have been highly critical of them, but not today, Tam.
No, not today. I think the last couple of games, they've been very critical of the team, but I think at Ibrox they deserve to go and do a lap of honour and take the adulation of the supporters. They thoroughly deserve to win the game. That guy in the picture now, Raskin, superb performance, and the Rangers fans will go home tonight buoyant. They'll go home happy with the performance, happy with beating Celtic 3-0. They'll know there's plenty of work to do to try and close the gap at the top, but they'll know they can compete with Celtic in a one-off game. I've seen that over the last 3 or 4 games. They can compete. It's just the consistency against other teams that they've got to sort out under away form. But certainly on that performance today, you know, the Rangers fans will go home ecstatic.
Before you talk about and before we discuss the implications of it, why not give us your thoughts on that match? What did you make of Rangers 3, Celtic 0? Who were the standout performers? What questions do you ask of a Celtic performance today which was lacklustre and they seemed to be second to every ball? Rangers, did they want it more? What about individual performances? If you are a Rangers fan, give us the highlights of the great performances. If you're a Celtic fan, are there particular displays that you want to criticise today? And overall, the implications of this in the title race, does it have any bearing whatsoever? Is there something positive that Rangers can take out of this to battle away to try and get maybe the Scottish Cup, or to get a bit of credibility and to try and reduce that gap even more? We'd love to hear from you. Just put your comments in the YouTube, Facebook and X for us on our watch along today. It finished at Ibrox, Rangers 3, Celtic 0, and undoubtedly, Blair, there will be numerous Rangers fans on celebrating a brilliant performance.
Yep, Rangers fans undoubtedly absolutely ecstatic in the comments across all of our platforms. A lot of credit coming in for Nico Raskin. Adam McKenzie here. Nico Raskin, though, what a player. As from a Celtic perspective, a few of the Celtic fans, they're unhappy with today's result, but obviously trying to view it in the context of the season. Philip Clement has his day in the sun. It's Rangers' day, but it will be Celtic's year. Looking to the stats on that game, Rangers completely dominant from start to finish, except in possession, funnily enough. Rangers finishing that game with 40% possession, Celtic 60% of the ball. It didn't matter too much in the end, but Rangers 24 shots to Celtic's 4 at the end, up 9 on target for Rangers, and I'll come back to it again. Only 1 shot on target for Celtic at Ibrox this afternoon. That effort from Hatate just before the half that Liam Kelly kept out.
It's a sad indictment of the way Celtic played today. It was all about Rangers.
Yeah, I think we'll all be anticipating Brendan Rodgers' slant on that game. I think he'll come out and he'll be perfectly honest that his team never turned up. There only was one team that turned up, and that was Rangers, and that was right from the very start of the game to the very last minute of the game. You know, I thought every Rangers player to a man played his part. Big boy Sterling at the back, I thought was superb. He set the stall for everything, and I honestly can't think a Celtic player you could give Cameron Vickers yet for his defending and his blocking, but apart from that, the other 10 players, I'd love to see the papers when you get stars and points and that. I'd be lucky if one Celtic player apart from Cameron Vickers gets more than three marks for that game.
Yeah, and a number of Rangers players just highlighting and trying to push forward Nico Raskin, but he was having none of it. He's just basically pointed out to all the Rangers reporters that was a team effort, and I think that's he's hit the nail on the head there. It was a team effort.
Yeah, it was. I think from start to finish, Rangers were the better team. I think they showed the hunger and intensity. It was a game that they were desperate to win. Celtic went through the motions for me. And the majority of that game, it wasn't, they get bullied physically. In every department, Rangers were better. Liam Kelly, I think he's 2 games now, 2 clean sheets. Clean sheet against Celtic. An Old Firm derby, he'll be delighted as well to come in and keep a clean sheet. But yeah, the Rangers thoroughly deserved to go and, as I said, take the adulation and the supporters. They deserved it. And they'll take great confidence from that. I think the league's gone. I think Celtic will win the league, but there's still another trophy up for grabs. And if Rangers run into Celtic again, they'll know that they can beat them in a one-off game.
Yeah, and
it gets a monkey off the back for the manager as well, Peter.
Yeah,
Philip Clement said that over his head. They can't beat Celtic. He's not beat Celtic in 6 games. This will be 7, and he's got that off his. That's a big result. I think probably the most pressure was the manager the day for Rangers. I think Philip Clement. I think Celtic, win, lose or draw, are going to win the league anyway. But Philip Clement, I think it was a big result and performance for him.
Was that a job-saving result?
I think it was, Peter. I think even a draw wasn't enough. He had to prove that he could beat Celtic in a one-off game. He's done that. They've done it convincingly. So for Philip Clement, that is a massive win.
Yeah. What is the overall reaction coming in, Blair?
Interesting point you made in the first half, Tam. Nadeem Barami, this is John here. Nadeem Barami, he marked Callum McGregor out of that game. A really impressive performance from him, maybe been asked to do something of a bit more of a defensive role. Some Celtic fans really not happy with that one, up there with the worst Celtic performance in 20 years. Not one redeeming feature, no crumb of comfort, just pathetic.
I think quite a few of us, Ruffy, could think of a few humdinger performances along the way. When you look at Rangers and Celtic performances down through the years, I can think of a few stinkers. But today, can Brendan Rodgers walk into that press room and just take that match in isolation and say, bad day at the office?
Yeah, he has. I think he has to. There's no other reason or explanation for it. The players just never turned up. I don't think he got his tactics wrong. I just think Rangers got their tactics right. I think Celtic fall into the category in most of the games they play with. It's very easy for them. They end up winning 3-0, 4-0. There's no many times that they're in a battle like they were in today against a team who were very physical. And I think that's why sometimes they struggle, because they get it so easy. And then they come up against a good team, a very well organised team, and they struggle. Yeah,
what can we read into, as well as the result? What are the implications of this moving forward?
I think it's a real, shot in the arm for Rangers and for Philip Clement winning the game. I think in terms of the overall picture, it doesn't really affect anything. Celtic will win the league. I think they'd have wanted to go invincible again and go unbeaten this season. That's gone for them. And I think they'll realise that they can't afford to just turn up and not play well in any games. They've got to come up and turn up every game. remember a few seasons ago, was it Hearts that beat them 4-0 at Tynecastle? It can happen. If you're totally off your game and another team plays well, it can happen. So in terms of the overall pitch, it doesn't really change. But for Philip, Clermont and Rangers fans, it just gives them a confidence that they can compete with Celtic in one-off games.
I mean, I did mention, Ruffy, that since the 7-1 thumping by Dortmund, they've gone on 18 games unbeaten, Celtic. And now they've been halted in that match. But over that period of time, I think Tam mentioned that, there are certain statements that you make throughout a season that sometimes can come back to bite you in the back end. I actually said about maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago that I couldn't see Celtic being beaten again.
No, well, I could see them being beaten
by
Rangers. By Rangers. Unfortunately for Rangers, none of the other teams are capable of beating Celtic. That is why Celtic will win the league, because nobody else is going to take points off them. Rangers might in the game at Parkhead, but the reason that they will eventually win is because Celtic beat everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's the key element that a number of people will look at, Tam, with regards to Celtic and what they've been doing to other sides. They're taking 3 and 4. They're taking 4 off St John's. They're taking 4 off Motherwell. You're saying you need favours from elsewhere, and it's not going to materialise.
No, you're right, and that's why Celtic deserve credit for putting the runs together. They've been unbeaten. I think they lost 1 game in 2024. People think, Celtic should be winning. They've got the biggest budget and they've got the best players. But on any given day, you put a performance in like that, you can lose a game of football. So, yeah, Celtic will get criticised, and rightly so for that. I think it's just a one-off. I think Celtic will get back on the horse and go on another kind of unbeaten run. But yeah, I think in terms of Rangers, I think they'll go home thrilled with that performance. The best I've seen Rangers in a long time. I think they put a great performance in against Tottenham at home in the Europa League. It was a similar performance tonight against a team that attacked them. It kind of suited them. They sat in and then they caught Celtic out time after time on the break by going and pressing them. So, no, I think that, listen, it's an off day for Celtic, but if you're a Rangers fan, all we can do is be happy and with that 3-0 win.
Give us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on what you think you can read into a 3-0 win and an emphatic win for Rangers. I think in our first, have we done a watch along before, Ruffy?
No.
Have we done one before?
No.
I can't remember. I certainly remember, losing the commentary for Clyde and doing about 350,000 watch-alongs. But as far as today is concerned, it was an emphatic win. The general consensus is all positive towards Rangers, and really the criticism that's coming in, I'm sure, Blair, you're about to reflect it, from Celtic fans not happy with what they witnessed.
Yep, there's a fair few comments on the feed. David here says Rangers were playing for the manager's future and fighting for everything. Celtic were atrocious, looked like they thought they could just turn up and win it. Means nothing though, Rangers won't win the league. Patrick here, he's a bit more optimistic as a Celtic fan. Says Martin O'Neill's team, which won the treble, were beat 5-1 at Ibrox. These days can happen, unfortunately. James, a very happy Rangers fan, enjoying this one this afternoon. Rangers hammered them with a makeshift defence. By the way, that Scales wouldn't get in the Rangers team. He wouldn't even make the bench.
Well, I think I'm going to add a bit of balance to all of this. Liam Scales made a couple of mistakes. His overall performance not great, but I don't think he could be the main culprit for the overall defeat here. If anything, a lot of people were looking at Brendan Rodgers and saying, what does he need to add in this January transfer window? Is there a need at this point for any kind of panic? I think Martin made a great point there. I watched Celtic defeat Rangers 6-2, and then in the November I watched Rangers dismantle Celtic 5-1.
If anything, and it's the predictability of them. We know what their strengths are. They get the ball in the midfield, they put it wide. The 2 wide guys generally play particularly well, get the ball in the box, and whoever striker's in there, scores goals. I think there needs to be a wee bit more variety in the way they're playing. I think today was a perfect example that, when you come up against a team and you know what they're going to do, if you're very well organised and your manager does his homework, you stop the players that are going to hurt you. And right from today, the Rangers stopped the players that were going to hurt them. The 2 wide men, Callum McGregor, Kyogo never kicked the ball. You know, and the Rangers just did their homework on Rangers and Celtic and learnt from the lessons of all the other games that they played.
Yeah, it was painful losing the Cup 3 weeks ago, Tam. And I think a lot of Rangers players would have been stung by that criticism.
Yeah, I think they would have been. I think it was a real painful one. I think they were probably the better team on the night. We'll speak about the decision, the penalty that they never got. I think that's really, irked a lot of people at Rangers as well. So I think they came out today, and from the first minute to the last minute, they looked a hungrier team. I thought Celtic went through the motions, thought they could just turn up and win the game, to be honest. And Rangers just didn't let them settle into their own, passing, passages of play. And Rangers ran out very, very convincing winners. As I said to you, 3-0. That could have been 5 or 6. That could easily have been 5 or 6 today, and it was a real tanking, a real statement of intent from Rangers to go and put that type of performance in. But can they back it up the rest of the season, Peter? Can they go and beat St Mirren and Motherwells and teams like that every week? I'm not so sure. I just think that they definitely raise their game for the bigger one-off games, Rangers.
That point alone, Ruffy, you talked about the fact that, if Rangers were looking for favours, they were looking for other teams that could maybe lay a glove in Celtic, and you said that just hasn't materialised, and it's not going to materialise. The other big dilemma here, which Tam has highlighted there, which I think is more pertinent, is you get a superb performance like that from Rangers, and then suddenly you get 2 or 3 weeks of mediocrity and dropping points elsewhere.
That's why the Rangers manager was scratching his head, saying, how can we put in a performance at Motherwell and St Mirren and then come up with something like that? That is something as a manager you have to get your finger on. But he has always said, let my best players come back and then judge me. He's got his best players back, and in that performance, if they can keep that kind of consistency, which we'll soon find out for now in the end of the season, then the manager might have been right.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at it right now. After that win over Celtic, they've got Hibs at Easter Road, Dundee away at Dens Park, then it's St Johnstone, and then they've got Aberdeen at home, before, of course, the home game in the Scottish Cup against Fraserburgh in mid-January. But nevertheless...
Tough game coming up, Peter, next week away at Easter Road, away at Hibs.
Yeah, could be 3 or 4-0. No, I'm being facetious with you, Tom. Overall, just quickly, could we get us an overall look at the Scottish Premiership? Because there are other games there, Blair, which I think are now well and truly finished.
Yep, full-time results around the ground. Aberdeen that lose again, this time at home to Ross County. Hearts, they defeated Motherwell by 1-0. Kilmarnock winning 2-0 at Rugby Park against St Mirren. Rangers, of course, winning 3-0 at home to Celtic. And Tam Hibs only managing a draw against 10-man St Johnstone before the Dundee Derby at 5:30 this evening, which Kerry Pollock will be keeping you all up to date with across the PLZ social media platforms.
Yeah, and with that as well, Ruffy, the rest of the league is erratic in the performances as well. I mean, Rangers now, with that win, still with a game in hand over Aberdeen, are 5 points clear of them. And then you look and you say to yourself, Dundee United could chase down Aberdeen if they win the derby tonight. And you look at the bottom end of the table, St Johnstone now rooted at the bottom, Hearts 5 points ahead of them, Ross County 2 points ahead of Hearts, and then you've got Dundee, Kilmarnock and Hibs. Everybody below, Celtic and Rangers, all capable of beating each other.
The thing about it as well, and none of them have got any consistency at all. There's none of them going to go on a 2 or a 3 winning run, because all of a sudden you get the results like you get the day. Hibs drawing St Johnstone, Ross County quite rightly scraping something. So, I think the bottom 6, could get closer, depending on the way the fixtures go and the way obviously the results are. But certainly the reason I'm saying is, there's nobody else can take points off of Celtic, because we used to have a dominant Aberdeen, a dominant Hearts. Hibs are not really dominant, they're there or thereabouts. So they were the teams you would expect the leaders to be dropping points to, but none of them have got any consistency at all.
Yeah, more reaction, Blair?
Yep, again, Liam Kelly taking a very complimentary towards Liam Kelly in his Old Firm debut, saying he didn't have a lot to do, but when he was called upon, he was able to stand up after being thrown in at the last minute. Very complimentary to Rangers on the Facebook feed as well. However, there are a lot of Celtic fans saying that the league is already won and they're not too worried about that result.
Well, I think the team played like that today.
Yeah.
I think the team played with that attitude. I know it's okay Celtic fans saying that and we're still going to win the league, but you know, you've just got hammered in an Old Firm game. It's just no, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter. Every game matters. Every Old Firm game matters, Peter. And they'll get criticised, the players, the manager, and rightly so. But, you know, just to say, oh, well, we'll still win the league, that was a dreadful Celtic performance.
I think the majority of people will be concentrating on what Rangers have delivered, and I think if you're talking about a moment where he can enjoy a post-match press conference, it's almost certainly Philippe Clement.
Yeah, I think that keeps him in a job, Peter. And a lot of Celtic fans will joke they're quite happy he's still in the job, but I think he needed that badly. I think over the course of the last 6 games, you know, Celtic have been there for the taking once or twice, I thought, and Rangers have not been able to go over the line in terms of beating them or winning a trophy. But you know, it all clicked today, and Philippe Clement will go back to the board. We spoke about Buruffy, saying, listen, long term, I know we can get closer, you know, and get some players in January. Just trust me, and that result just gives him a wee bit of breathing space.
Does it give Philippe Clement a good bargaining hand with the board, or is it a case of we have to try and look at things in the context of saying, listen, you can only read into what the Rangers board have said here, which is quite simply they need a long-term strategy which does not involve, you know, huge outlay, which they don't have if you look at the accounts?
No, I don't think obviously they've not got the same money as Celtic, but they can still go and try and strengthen in January and bring 2 or 3 in, maybe get a couple out, keep cutting that wage bill down. But it gives them a little bit of clout, a little bit of, you know, confidence to go in and say, listen, that's what I can do if I've got a lot of players out. If you give me more better players, I can get closer to Celtic again next season. So, yeah, it does. Long term, it gives them a wee bit of more clout with the board.
What message does it give to Brendan Rodgers as he looks towards a January transfer window?
Well, he's certainly got enough money to splash if he needs certain positions. But before this game, we'd be sitting there going maybe 1 or 2. But I mean, he's got a team that nobody can beat here, and they're doing reasonably well in Europe. So it's a dilemma for him, you know. You know, I just think they're getting predictable in these big games, so they need somebody with a wee bit different. You know, Kyogo's done remarkably well in the goals that he scores and everything, but I think he's predictable. I think teams are now know what's going to happen. The ball's going to go wide, it's going to get fired in early, and he's going to be half a yard short. So they need something different up front.
I know that they are looking towards a striker and a left back. Do they need anything else?
On this performance.
I'm sorry. I know they're looking at a winger and a left back, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, well, a winger. I mean, today was a perfect example. Both wingers never turned up, you know. So if you've got a quality winger sitting on the bench, it's obviously an asset that, you know, when one of them aren't working, you're going to throw somebody on who's equal to them. But that never happened. I think Celtic will just want to put this as a one-off out the window. We haven't produced that kind of performance for a long time in Scottish football. So they've got to get back to the drawing board. But I'd be really interested to hear Brendan Rodgers, and I'm sure he'll be honest when he comes out.
Okay, overall assessment of the game as we approach the final minutes here on our first watch along on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, our Facebook and our X feed. Is quite simply an emphatic win for Rangers, 3-0. It all started off in the first half. Ianis Hagi scoring the first, the second one added by Proper, and then the third by Danilo gives Rangers all 3 points, and the majority inside that ground, apart from the Celtic coaching staff and boardroom members who were there at the game. 50,000 Rangers fans get a chance to go home happy, having watched a performance that they demanded in so many other games. Any way back in the league?
No way back in the league. Celtic won the league, but a real confidence booster for the supporters in terms of the Scottish Cup, and a big result for the manager for me. That just gets them back on side. The supporters know that they can beat Celtic now under Philippe Clement. Yeah.
Star man for me was Raskin. Are there others that deserve special mention, Ruffy?
I think every Rangers player turned in a performance. Obviously, Raskin handed the captain's band, put up an example to everybody else round about him, and they all produced the goods on the day. They went with the tactics they were told to do, and every one of them a man. You know, usually if you get 1 or 2 dropping off, you know that's when you struggle. But every one of them, a man, were absolutely superb.
Yeah, Blair, fans' reaction again?
Dermot, the Celtic fan here, says, great effort by Rangers. Will give Celtic a jolt. Long way to go, but the pressure is on them. A lot of people in the feed across all of the platforms really questioning Adam Ida and Arne Engels' combined reported fee of £20 million, neither starting this afternoon, both brought on from the bench, maybe questioning the recruitment policy there. And Kirk, the Rangers fan on Facebook, really enjoying it this afternoon, saying the Rangers B team gave Celtic a lesson today.
Yeah, I'm going to mention PSW, who says, my oh my, you're all absolutely raging. Yeah, I've got to give you that mention. And also somebody who flying haggis who says, Peter jinxed Celtic with his watch along. I have to tell you, the great joy of watching football, and of course in PLZ soccer, is, of course, we love the game. It's a game of football. You want people to go to a game. You want them to enjoy it. You want them to go home safely. And, of course, we comment on the game as we see it. And we've been fairly emphatic across the 90 minutes and beyond about Rangers and their performance. It was a superb performance from Rangers. They wanted it more, Ruffy.
Right from the very beginning, you know, they harassed, they pressed, didn't give Celtic a chance to sit on the ball, dwell on the ball, make the passes that you usually make, you know, and I keep going back to tactics. Spot on, 100% got it spot on and stopped the Celtic players from performing.
And if you look at the performance in a positive sense for Rangers, in a negative sense for Brendan Rodgers, can he look at that and maybe be critical of a few players that might not have a Celtic future by the end of this month?
Yeah, possibly, but I just think he'll know it's a one-off. He'll know that his team never performed today. I don't think there'll be any excuses for Brendan. He'll come out and he'll say the best team won. I think from the first minute, Rangers were bang at it, Celtic weren't. And I think he'll just be happy to come out with 3-0, put it to the back. They'll obviously go over it with the kind of department of watching the videos and stuff like that and see what they've done wrong, what they could have done better. And they'll put it to the back of their mind and they'll try and win the next game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little mention for Scott James. Scott, it's a game of football. And going into this game, I think the general consensus from so many people across all of the media was quite simply that Celtic would be in a really good position going into this game because of their form, because of their advantage of 14 points, and because of the fact that the news coming out in the last 24 hours was of major injuries to key Rangers players. So to see Rangers win by 3-0 is down to Philippe Clement and the team that he picked, and they deserve the credit, Ruffy, rather than anybody being a little bit abusive or negative about the overall thing. We ask our fans of the programme to try and look at football in isolation and give us a sensible outlook on it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can complain. I think the Rangers' performance today was far better than anything they've produced this year anyway, you know, and I think the Rangers supporters would appreciate that, and they'll be hoping that they can continue that form, because if they do, it could make it a wee bit exciting, but it's up to the other teams to produce the goods.
Yeah, a great performance by Rangers in the first 7 minutes of the match. They were a goal up through Ianis Hagi, and then in the second half, Robin Proper added the second for Rangers, and then to put the icing on the cake, it was Danilo who added number 3 for Rangers. An emphatic win for Philippe Clement's side. They've reduced the gap on Celtic to 11 points. I do hope you've enjoyed our watch along across all our social media. Don't forget, if you download the app, you'll get all the breaking news at your fingertips. You will also be able to look at the after-match interviews. Alison McConnell will give us her overall thoughts on it, and we'll hear from the managers and the players, not only for the Rangers-Celtic match, but of course right across the board. Tam's enjoyed it, Ruffy's enjoyed it. Ruffy's just whispered to me, why don't we stay for a watch along with Dundee United as well? But we've got to go now and enjoy January the 2nd, and hopefully ask you to hit that subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. And if you download the app, you'll get all the breaking news at your fingertips. Our watch along today was the Old Firm game at Ibrox. It was Rangers against Celtic. Rangers won it by 3-0 from Blair, Ruffy, Tam and myself, Peter Martin. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching.